If you've ever seen a street buckle due to extreme heat and send a car flying into the air, go ahead and hit that like and subscribe button, folks. Welcome back to another episode of Benzinga's Pre-Market Playbook. Today is going to be the Tuesday, June 24th edition. Green arrows all around as it looks like we have a ceasefire, and I'm sure there are some people that are not happy about this, which is amazing. Take note of that. By the way, a lot of news going out there with everything going on. We're going to focus on interest rates again. Powell speaking today. We got a lot to cover. We're going to go ahead and break it down. Benzinga's Pre-Market Playbook for Tuesday, June 24th starts right now. Good morning and welcome back, everybody. It's great to see a whole bunch of returning faces here. I hope that you had a wonderful Monday evening. And if you're anywhere in the heat wave, hopefully you were able to stay cool. At least where I'm at here in Chicago, we might be past the worst of it. We'll see. But hope you all are doing well here today. Now, yesterday, we got some good news. And we're going to go ahead and talk about that. We're also going to get ready to trade here today. We're going to take a look at everything that's going on. But first, I want to say good morning to everybody. Welcome back. Kerching. Yep. Welcome back. Good to see you again. Dirkus, good morning. Welcome back. Shanlu Trading, good morning. Welcome back. EKS, great to see you, my man. Good morning. NVIDIA CEO activates the 10b5-1 trading plan, which kicks off stock sales. So that plan allows the insiders to set up different insider stock selling, right? That 10b5-1. I don't know all of the stipulations of that, but I'm pretty sure that allows insiders to start selling or to start coming up with plans to sell. Good call there, EKS. We definitely want to watch that, although NVIDIA trading higher with the NASDAQ this morning on the back of the peace deal, the ceasefire deal. Jane, good morning. Great to have you back here. Ready for you to absolutely crush it again. Crimp Biscuit, great day in the morning. Yo, life hack, be a morning person. Life is better if you're up early getting your day started. And that's what we're doing here. It is indeed a great day. Yassine, good morning. Welcome back. Yasso Fine. Good morning. Welcome back. Sun-Kissed Yogi. Good morning and welcome back. Anthony, good morning. Bernhard, good morning. Charles, it's great to see you again. Good morning. Chuck, good morning. Zach McCracken, good morning. Day Traders locked in. Good morning. Chris, good morning. Tyler, good morning. Neville, good morning. Graf, This Moj, and Eric, good morning. Jonathan, good morning. Glass half full. Ben and Ed, good morning. Fairchild is locked in. Fairchild, did it cool down in Wisconsin for you? It's supposed to be like 6 to 7 degrees cooler here today, which makes it a little bit more tolerable. DCL, good day, mate. Nice to see you. Good morning. And Buglog, he's back. Let's go. Good morning, folks. All right. Let me go ahead and share the chart, and let's dive right into the SPY. Then we will take a look at the morning report, and we'll get prepared here for the day. Good morning, Lori. It's great to see you again. Okay, first, we're going to start with the SPY because this is, without a doubt, the most important thing. Mama Bear is locked in. Let's go, Mama Bear. Good morning. We did pop over. We were talking yesterday if we were able to continue to trade higher about this level here, 605.06, being of some importance. And we talked about hopefully being able to test that level and maybe move higher. Well, we've done that here, at least in the pre-market. We actually have a pre-market high here of 606.69. So we definitely want to see these prints happen in the regular session. We don't just want them to happen in the pre-market and then reverse. So let's see if we can get above this 605.06 here in the regular session. If we do that, we are within reach of the all-time high at 613.27. So we're going to be looking for those two key upside levels. I don't know if we go there here today. We'll see. We've got some pretty good news that the market is up on right now. We'll see if there's any continuation on that. And then, of course, we have the ultimate monkey wrench of Powell talking here at 10 o'clock. So I don't know that that's necessarily going to move the market. But I think all eyes are going to be on Powell, and to the degree that they analyze this guy, it's absolutely worth us knowing what's going on here. So good morning, Anne Marie. Okay. Big Bear Hug, good morning. Rivian, good morning. Ralph and James, good morning as well. Oh, gosh, Anne-Marie. Oh, my God. I completely forgot. We have Anne-Marie coming up here later today. I got to give her the invite. Otherwise, we're not going to have her on. So sorry about that, Anne-Marie. Should be good to go. Okay. Anyway, with the SPY here, awesome that we're breaking out over the recent high, all-time high next in sight here. Downside levels. Obviously, we're about to gap up here today. If we fill that gap, that would be a negative. If we fill that gap and trade lower and unable to hold it, that would be a negative. We're going to have that level right in here at about 600. In fact, in the after hours yesterday, we basically traded along this 637 line. So 600 even, 600.37, excuse me. We'll see if we can hold above that here today. Downside levels then also past that 596.77. You want to call it 597 because we had that as a previous level. I agree with you. That's what we're looking at here. RSI still some runway here to continue to trade higher. So again, I do think it's possible that we make an attempt at the all-time highs. Unsure if we do that here today, but we could see that coming here. So really good stuff here, really constructive. Now, let's go ahead and take a look at the morning update. As mentioned here, we do have Fed chairs testifying today to Congress. Again, I'm not sure that this is going to move it, but we'll see what he has to say. We'll see if the market responds to it. They like to respond to the color of his tie and the words that he chooses to use. So who knows what's going to happen? Let's just be prepared for that. That's at 10 a.m. Eastern. Also worth noting that we have Williams, Kashkari, and Collins speaking today. That's 12:30, 1:45, and 2:05. And then we round that out at 4 with Barr. So there's going to be a lot of Fed heads today talking, and it's going to start with Powell's testimony. Again, we'll see if that has any impact on the market. Taking a look here at the pre-market indices, everything is in the green except for oil and gold, and that makes sense given what's happening here. Oil just is perhaps the most surprising thing. Oil down another 3.8% here today. Just massive and really good for the prospect of rate cuts as well. We do have an IPO coming here today. So HCHL, Happy City Holdings. Your guess is as good as mine what that does. But if you want to look into that and see if that might be hot here today, that is IPOing. It's worth noting that the two IPOs we got yesterday actually opened pretty early in the morning. So we had some time to take advantage of that. It didn't happen closer to noon or in the afternoon. So that was pretty cool. We'll see what happens here today with HCHL, Happy City Holdings. We do have a JP Morgan Energy and Power Conference here today. I'm not sure if this is going to be important, but it's on here. MUR, Murphy's Oil, and California Resources, CRC, the two main tickers that are mentioned there. We'll see what happens these next couple of days. In terms of initiations here today, Advanced Auto Parts caught a sell. Lexicon Pharmaceuticals got a buy. I think that was Amriz got a neutral rating from OBS. Good Lord, UBS. So again, this was one of the IPOs from yesterday. Looks like we're getting kind of a neutral rating there. Some earnings to pay attention to here today. Carnival, FedEx. These are going to be actually Carnival is out here already. How's that doing this morning? Carnival trading higher here just a little bit this morning. FedEx after the close here today. And then AV, your best in breed for drones, also going to be reporting after hours here today. We'll see if this has an impact on some of the other drone stocks that we take a look at, namely Arcat, Ondis, and I think, what was it, MOB, that other one that started moving recently. Also, BlackBerry going to report earnings here today for those of you that follow BlackBerry. Okay, and then let's see, is analyst upgrades here. Make My Trip, ticker MMYT. That is trading higher here by about 1/4%. Advanced Auto Parts got downgraded. Dollar General got downgraded. This has been a big time winner for us up here at 115.5. This is actually still green post the downgrade. Also worth noting, Ollie's Bargain Outlet downgraded here. So Restoration Hardware, Dollar General, Advanced Auto Parts, and Ollie all downgraded here today. Okay, let's dive into the news and let's figure out exactly what's going on here. U.S. stocks likely to open higher after Trump announces an Iran-Israel ceasefire deal. And then obviously we have some earnings stocks here. So U.S. futures were trading higher on Tuesday after a positive day of trading on Monday. Futures major benchmark indices were trading higher. President Trump announced a ceasefire in a Truth Social post saying that the 12-day war will be considered ended. And I got to tell you, the people that were panicking, the taco folks, this is a bad day for them. If you know any of those people, please be kind and check in on them because they might be in trouble. Despite this, the foreign minister of Iran, Saeed Abbas Aghanchi, I knew I was going to blow that last name. I was trying. I knew I was going to do it. Sorry, Syed. Refuted claims of this ceasefire, saying that there was, quote, no agreement, end quote, for concession of military operations in a post on X. Okay, so first of all, one thing, day trader, I see you're saying it doesn't look like it's over. Let's pump the brakes here. Trump addressed this here this morning. I'll cover it here. But perhaps more importantly than any of this, here's the reality. The rhetoric that's going back and forth from politicians, take it with a grain of salt. Oil told the story all day yesterday. It traded down 8%. And I'm telling you right now that there's a 0% chance that oil is going to be down 7 or 8% if there's a giant war starting in the Middle East. The market sniffed it out. It told you all day what was going to happen yesterday. And then it happened. So let's see how this actually plays out here. I know that there's some stuff this morning about Iran saying Israel broke the ceasefire and Israel saying Iran broke the ceasefire. Trump was obviously very upset today. Let's see how this shakes out. It certainly appears that cooler heads have prevailed and the market is still telling you the same thing. So again, this is what we all should be hoping for. Less war, less killing, less weapons. Let's hope it stays that way. But Syed here saying there is no agreement. Now, checking on the treasuries here, the 10-year bond yielded 4.35. The 2-year was at 3.84. Those were actually down yesterday. They're up a little bit this morning, but nothing really to get too upset about there. It's still moving in the right direction, albeit slowly. Here's some insights for you. Senior economist Jeremy Siegel expressed his opinions on the ongoing tensions as Trump announced a ceasefire. Geopolitics is a wild card, but the U.S. is far less exposed than it was in the 1970s. I got to sneeze. Okay, sorry about that. Geopolitics is a wild card, but the U.S. is far less exposed than it was in the 1970s. Even a brief closure of the Strait of Hormuz would not derail domestic growth. Shale capacity and strategic reserves mute the blow, end quote. I maintain that investors should stay overweight equities versus bonds. Okay, so right there, you're getting a direct very, very direct. He's not even really beating around the bush. I maintain investors should stay overweight equities versus bonds. As a trader, especially as someone that's active every day, this is exactly what we want to hear. Hopefully this holds too. He added saying, don't just chase AI enablers at high multiples to earnings. Boy, this all sounds like some pretty good advice. Real margin expansion could very well accrue. Real margin expansion could very well accrue to users of AI, banks, industrial, consumer staples, mid-cap firms that are leaning where they can cut costs, increase output, and improve margins. In its most recent note, BlackRock spotlighted the defense sector as a top investment prospect, fueled by escalating geopolitical fragmentation and a worldwide focus on national security. As per BlackRock, the U.S. distinguishes itself through its extensive defense spending, which, according to SIPRI data, spends more than double on defense than Europe. Although that's changing recently, so we'll see how that shakes out too. Thank you for doing that. Moreover, the U.S. hosts the world's most advanced defense and defense technology companies, acting as a vital provider of critical systems like air and missile defense for numerous countries. Within the defense sector, BlackRock identifies substantial opportunities in defense tech. This expansive field includes not just artificial intelligence, and software firms, but also crucial IT services and hardware, such as semiconductors that drive cost-cutting defense capabilities. BlackRock observes that the growing geopolitical fragmentation and strategic competition in AI are reinforcing their global focus on national security and resilience, creating opportunities in defense. Hey, we've seen a pretty big one, haven't we? Right? We've been watching Palantir for how long now? I feel like several years. We've been trading it pretty actively in here. We're seeing the combination of AI and defense, what it can actually do, especially for some assets. So this highlights a targeted investment strategy in defense, where technological leadership and strong national security frameworks are increasingly critical. Boy, doesn't that sound like a pretty good description of Palantir? Sure does to me. So I would say let's look for some more stocks like that. I know we're all trying on that. We'll see where Palantir goes. We'll see if we get another opportunity. But I do think that this defense sector here, this might have some legs. This might not be a short-term thing. Commodities, gold, and equity might as well check in here. Crude oil futures were trading lower in the early New York session by 3.4%. Again, this is after the 7% decline yesterday. It's hovering around 66.18. That futures price here is actually lower now, 65.72 on those crude futures. Gold spot US dollar fell 1.29% to hover around 3,325.68 per ounce. The last record stood at $3,500 per ounce. U.S. dollar index spot was lower by 0.3 at the 98.124 level. Okay, let's go. Here's some more stuff on the conflict that's clearly driving the market here. Trump declares Israel-Iran ceasefire now in effect as China warns of spiraling escalations at the UN. We did a really good job talking about what this means for China. China was awfully quiet since these strikes, and I think that that speaks volumes too. President Trump posted on Truth Social on Tuesday, writing that the ceasefire is now in effect. Please don't violate it. Almost as if he knew there was going to be some trouble there. Please don't violate it. The U.S. futures rallied sharply after Monday's initial ceasefire declaration. Dow futures jumped over 200 points, while the S&P futures gained about over 0.5%, and the NASDAQ futures climbed nearly a full percent, almost 0.9 there. Trump's latest post reinforces his Monday statement outlining a phased ceasefire timeline. He said Iran would initiate a 12-hour ceasefire 6 hours after the announcement, followed by Israel 12 hours later, and this would effectively end what he termed the 12-day war. Iran's foreign minister, we already talked about that. He disputes this, says that there's no ceasefire at the moment. Again, oil's really kind of telling the story there. We can see if he ends up lying or not. And then here, China's United Nations envoy Fu Kong condemned the strikes as at an emergency security council meeting, warning of, quote, spiraling escalation, end quote, in the Middle East. China and Russia and Pakistan proposed a draft resolution demanding an immediate ceasefire. So this is awesome because it's not just us, it's not just Iran, it's not just Israel. It really does appear that everybody wants this. It would be better for everybody. So please, let's have those cooler heads prevail. Okay. How much time do I have? We're cruising here. Next, Fed Governor Michelle Bowman backs July rate cut, citing contained inflation pressure. Impact of tariffs may take longer. So this is also encouraging. It's encouraging to see some Fed members start to talk about cuts and how close they are. This is Bowman basically telling you that, hey, if these conditions are met, we can cut in July. That's next month. The market would absolutely love that. Now, let's dig into this a little bit more. Bowman, during a speech in Prague, suggested that an interest rate cut at the upcoming July meeting would be appropriate if inflationary pressures remain low. This is putting more emphasis on this next in the CPI and PPI prints. These are the ones that everyone's saying, oh my God, the tariffs are going to ruin everything. Here they come. Bowman saying, hey, if we don't actually get a bad print there, maybe we can look at lowering rates. So it just goes to show it's going to make this next print really important. Should inflation pressures remain contained, I would support lowering the policy rate as soon as our next meeting in order to bring it closer to its neutral setting and to sustain a healthy labor market. Bowman's view aligns with that of fellow Governor Chris Waller, who also hinted at a possible rate cut in July. Both governors are of the opinion that the effect of President Trump's tariffs on prices will be temporary and muted, thus creating a favorable environment for lower rates. So this really is where the rubber meets the road. If we get a print like this, and I think that it's possible that we only need one single print, and if we get that, we might be looking at rate cuts earlier than at least I thought. Initially, I thought, back half of the year, and you folks might say, well, Ryan, July is the 7th month. It is the back half of the year. Okay. But to be fair, that's not what I meant. I meant a little bit closer to the end of the year. So I'm thinking September, December-ish in there. We get one in July. That would actually be ahead of schedule, at least by my estimation. I don't know if anyone of you care about my estimation, but I would view that as a positive if we're able to do that. Quote, I think it's likely that the impacts of tariffs on inflation may take longer, be more delayed, and have a smaller effect than initially expected. Huh. How about that? Especially because many firms front-loaded their stocks of inventories. While Bowman did not specify the extent of the rate cut she supports, this is where the market's going to have so much fun talking about how big that cut's going to be if we do, in fact, materialize for that. While Bowman did not specify the extent of the rate cut she supports, Walters has stated that drastic cuts aren't needed at the moment. The FOMC's next scheduled meeting is, in fact, the end of July 29 to July 30. Now, just kind of interjecting here, I also don't think we need a huge rate cut. I think for the first cut, maybe you want to go 50 basis points, but I think either 25 or 50 is gonna be fine. And frankly, I think the market's gonna like either one of those. The only scenario I can see where the market doesn't like that is the market gets juiced up and then gaslit into thinking that it needs a 50 bips cut and then it only gets 25. I could see it throwing a very short-term temper tantrum. The Federal Reserve's 2% inflation target has been a subject of debate, with Rep. Ro Khanna from California questioning its sanctity. The Fed's decision to maintain its benchmark rate at 4.25 to 4.5 for a sixth consecutive meeting has left borrowing costs and deposit payouts near current levels across the economy. This comes amid mounting White House pressure for rate cuts. Senator Elizabeth Warren criticized President Trump's policies, no shocker there, arguing they prevent the Federal Reserve from delivering the lower interest rates Americans need. Cool story. Meanwhile, the Federal Reserve Chair Jerome Powell's semi-annual appearance starts Tuesday as he delivers the Federal Reserve's Monetary Policy Report to the House Financial Services Committee, followed by the Senate Banking Committee on Wednesday. So we're going to get that here today. We shall see if this has any impact on the market here today. Now, okay, we talked a little bit about BlackRock here. Let's see. We did the U.S. I'm sorry. I just want to get to the next story here. Some of these had some overlap, so I tried to trim it just to save time. Yeah, we don't need that one. Do want to talk here about Kathy. You know what? Actually, let's go back to the chart here real quick and take a look at some of these defense names. We talked yesterday about potentially NOC, just because of this being the company that makes the B-2 bombers. This actually had kind of a disappointing day yesterday, if you ask me. You can see here, we did trade up. We were up in the pre-market. We traded up right out of the open, but this basically bled all of its gains back here. So not the greatest day here. Take a look at, or let's actually look at Boeing, because Boeing did have a good day. Did anyone trade Boeing yesterday? I know we got tied into some of those smaller movers early on, but honestly, in retrospect, look at the day Boeing had. Look at the day Boeing had. Just really good for trading here. We'll see. We actually talked about Boeing in the happy hour yesterday. We identified a new possible broadening formation, and we have two targets here right above where the current price is. That 20-day moving average at 206.41, and then above it, we actually have this downward sloping trend line that comes from the high put back right before COVID. So this would be an interesting trend line to break. We actually have a less steep trend line that would provide another target should we continue to trade higher here. The Boeing chart actually looks pretty good. Now, some of these other defense stocks, here's Lockheed Martin. This one sure looks like this could pop, but really it's this trend line that we need to take out. We've been banging against this since pretty much all year and haven't been able to move above that. I think if we do, maybe that changes sentiment here. RTX, this is another one. Raytheon, this actually holding higher. I don't feel great about this one. I actually would like to see this pull back. We'll see if we end up getting a pullback there. And then the two ETFs that people were trading here. First one is going to be ITA. Look at this chart. This sure looks like this is trying to go higher. This sure looks pretty bullish. I know it's extended a little bit, but it definitely looks bullish here. This traded at pretty good volume yesterday. And then the levered product, DFEN, DFEN. This is the 3X levered product, exact same type of move, but obviously levered. This traded at about half of the volume as ITA. So it depends how big your positions are and what kind of volume numbers are required for your entry and exit. DFEN, really good move, might be a little bit more difficult to trade as it's less voluminous. Now, I will say that yesterday it traded like 2 or 3x its average volume. So clearly it was in play yesterday. Okay, that does it for the defense stocks. How much time do I have? We're good. We're good. Let's talk about Cathie Wood. Cathie Wood's ARK Invest cashes out $109 million of Circle's internet stock as shares spike. Pivots into Robinhood. So I know Hood is definitely one of the stocks that we take a look at regularly here. Looks like you had Cathie pivoting into that as well as some other chip stocks. Let's take a look at that. Cathie Wood made significant trades involving Circle, Robinhood, AMD, and Taiwan Semiconductor. So all of these very, very popular stocks amongst our group here. ARK Invest executed a notable sell-off in Circle Internet shares across multiple ETFs, including ARK FinTech Innovation, ARK Innovation, and ARK Next Generation Internet. The sale amounted to a total of 415,844 shares. Circle shares surged more than 9% on Monday, closing at 263. Just unbelievable. ARK's trade there almost $110 million. This move comes as Circle's stock reached new heights following its announcement of a partnership with Fiserv to develop stablecoin-enabled solutions for financial institutions. The collaboration aims to enhance the adoption of stablecoins within the Fiserv ecosystem. The amount of news that we're seeing, I guess I should rephrase that. The amount of positive news that we're seeing about Bitcoin, stablecoin, some of these altcoins, Bitcoin treasury strategies, all of this to me bodes really well for Bitcoin and its future. We talk about it all the time here. There's going to be some short-term trades. There's plenty of long-term trades available. Still long some of those coins. So this is all just really, really good stuff to see, at least in my opinion. ARK Invest ARKK fund acquired 319,640 shares of Robinhood. Robinhood closed at 76.35. Actually, that would be a chart to check out here real quick. Let's actually do that. I'll come back to the story. Here is Robinhood. We talked about this actually recently breaking and moving higher here. It's at the high end of the RSI range, but this too looks like this wants to keep pushing forward here. My big thing here is after a move like this, I really want to reset. I really want this stock to come back in. I might have to wait that out. I wouldn't actually be shocked if we traded up to an 80 RSI if this thing pops and moves again. I'll let you guys figure out targets, especially if you want to use any of those Fibonacci extensions or anything like that to go after that. That'd be great. But frankly, as far as the next swing here, I would definitely want to wait for this to pull back here. One of the other stocks mentioned in the article there was AMD. This got asked about, I believe, yesterday. I think we took a look at this yesterday here. This chart, much more appealing, even though Robinhood clearly the better momentum stock, especially as of late. The setup here at AMD is actually pretty good. We moved above the 200-day. We've got multiple closes above the 200-day. It sure looks like this stock is actually ready to go through that 500. Now, the RSI is a little on the high side. So if we actually consolidate here at this 500-day moving average, maybe even pull back one of those days, but not break down. Totally bullish here for AMD. We think that this could actually go higher here. So I actually like the AMD chart right now more than I like the Hood chart. We'll see how things change here. And then obviously that ties into the ARK buy here. ARK Invest made a sizable move on AMD, collectively picking up 130,000 shares of AMD. So, and then they also picked up TSMC, so the Taiwan Semiconductor. You know what's interesting here is that we literally just talked about Dan Ives yesterday, saying that the worst is behind us. Tech could be good from here, and now we're following it up with actual transactions from a pretty prolific tech investor, and we're seeing the results of that. So let me know if you're looking to trade any of these here today. Let me know if you're trading Circle. I know we got a question here earlier. Is Circle done? Looks like Cleo here is asking, is Circle done? Well, here's a look at your Circle chart. I just out of habit, I don't chase moves like this. To me, I would absolutely get slapped if I tried to chase this move. But what I will say here is that this candle, not yet a topping candle. Let's see how we're doing here today. Looks like maybe we are rolling over. So one to watch here. Circle definitely one to watch here. This has been crazy. It's just been an absolutely huge move. Regrets to anyone that has traded this to the long side. It has been absolutely fantastic. Okay. It is a T3 Tuesday, and we got a surprise for you today. That is for sure. We are going to bring on a new T3 trader here, Warren Benzinga, PreMarket Playbook. Welcome for Dan Roch. Dan, good morning. How you doing today?
I'm doing well. Thanks for asking, Ryan.
You're more than welcome. Welcome to the show. We absolutely love the T3 folks here. Happy to add you.
Oh, great. I'm excited to be here. I've got some big shoes to fill, but I'll see what I can do.
Okay, well, we're going to start it off easy here for you. One of the things that I've done with the T3 guys, just as kind of a series here, I want to get to know your trading style, the types of things that you look for. So let's start with that. How would you describe your trading style, and what kind of stocks or options do you go after?
So, great question. It's evolved over the last few years. For many years, we were solely credit spread, iron condor, selling options a lot more than buying. And then we developed some technology and an indicator, and it's pretty good. So that's kind of taken us from being predominantly a swing trader to predominantly a day trader. So in the morning, I'll usually have 2 or 3 morning picks, and those have a really high win rate. And the reason for that is I look for stocks that are really active in the aftermarket, and usually there's a catalyst, earnings or news or analyst upgrade, and then I'll look at where that high was during that morning session. I focus only on really big name, big volume stocks that have weekly options. And the reason is we like to go in as less expensive as possible on the price of the option. So I'll put a line across the top of the highest point during the pre-market, and I'll put that out to our members. And of course, I trade it myself. And the reason I think that the win rate's so high on these is we only enter them if they cross the line. So if I say enter at $100, don't go in if it hits 99.75. You can use a 1-minute chart if you want. And then I'll have a target, and that target's usually going back to past resistance. It all, I think, sounds probably pretty obvious, but it's amazing how well it works and how few people I see doing it. So like currently, I think month to date, 55% return on those morning picks, because usually they're either going to trigger, and if they trigger, they're usually going to do what they're supposed to, or they're not.
You're just going to stay up. So first of all, Dan, sorry for jumping in here, but I absolutely love this. I don't know if you could have said anything better. One of the things that we look at here every day, whether it's a big stock, like a big cap tech stock, or one of these smaller movers that we try to trade just on momentum, are going to be those pre-market highs. And you're absolutely right in your assessment there. You cracked that. A lot of the times these things keep running. We obviously mark those off as key levels. Let me just ask you real quick, not to put you on the spot here, but did we get a setup that you like in Circle yesterday? The stock popped in the pre-market, made a pre-market high, leaked the entire rest of the pre-market. Buyers stepped in almost immediately at the open, sent this thing higher, and this had a pretty good break on volume through that pre-market high.
So you're asking if I had one of those?
Yeah, I'm just asking if this is a pretty good setup based on your trading, given the price action yesterday.
Yeah, no, that you called it. Yesterday, I had 2 picks that went out to our members. The first one was AMD, and it triggered. It did everything it was supposed to. It triggered, ran up. Our members made about 65 cents on the option pick. And then some members went in again after it pulled back, because a lot of times the second time that it went in, let me tell you what level I had. Let's see here, and forgive me if I fumble. I'm kind of new at
it's quite
this.
all right. I'm here to help you out. I got a chart for AMD as well.
And if only my eyes were better, I could use your chart. Let's see. Is it 10? Yeah, 131.20 was the goal that we were looking to break. Let me just confirm that here. And I'm on Pacific time, so I'm a zombie right now. That's all the excuses I've got.
That's okay. We've got some Pacific timers in here. We know how it goes. We talk to them regularly. I'm Central, so I'm actually not Eastern either. Central
Where are you?
Time. So I'm actually an hour behind Eastern. Oh, okay. I can't help it. I love getting up in the morning and getting after it.
I was a bond trader for Bear Stearns back, in the 80s. It seems like, and that I worked in the New York office for the first maybe year, and I just begged them because I wanted to be back in the San Francisco area. And from that day forward, I never got another good night's sleep.
5:35 there in Silicon Valley. Like I said, we got a number of West Coasters out there.
And sorry, I think I've got it. So yeah, I think, can you see, does 131 make sense? I'm trying to pull up my
131.50 was about that pre-market high.
Yeah. Okay. So I had, I think 131.20 was the level that I was looking to see crossed. And I think I actually, there it is. Sorry, Ryan. 131.20 was the level. And then the target was 134 in terms of how high I thought that it might go. And we tell people, you don't have to hold them to the target. When you're happy, you can take them. This is not about, squeezing every penny out of the pick. It's about, making a good return. So it crossed, ran right up to 132.20. It's when I said our members made, between 50 and 65 cents on the option. And then it pulled back and did it again about 45 minutes later. And that time it went even higher. I think it went to 133.20-ish. So that was a really good one. I don't know. You want any more examples?
I was basically just asking you about Circle because I was trying to follow along with what you were saying here, and it sure looks like Circle would have given you a pretty good setup. AMD too. But let me actually ask you here. We kind of just talked about this being the morning. One of the other things that I've really asked all of the different T3 folk, what is your process in the morning? So when you're preparing for a day, what is it that you do? Scott does the whole cold plunge thing outside, which is absolutely crazy. Some other people review news, other people review gappers. What is it for you? What's the morning prep for you? Whether it's exercise, mental, or just kind of reading charts or news. What's your process in the morning?
So I'm no spring chicken. And to me, stretching has become really important. It's something I just historically have not done well enough. And as I've gotten up there a little bit in age, I'm really noticing, I feel like my strength is okay. But stretching's been an issue. So I stretch. I listen to like some inspiring stuff on YouTube. I have a really massive screen in my office, so I'm on the floor. My German Shepherd's usually right next to me, licking my face, and I'm telling him no, but it wakes me up. And in fact, he just knocked down one of my signs. Then I do push-ups, dips, squats, and stretch while I'm watching, something inspirational on YouTube. And at that point, it's usually about 5:50-ish, going on to 6. I always get up at 5:30, and then that's when I start looking for my morning picks. And at the same time, I'm looking, as soon as I find the morning picks, usually try to get 1 to 3 of them out there to the members. And then that's when I'll start really looking at levels for the market. What do I see longer term? But again, as I said, our horizon is usually going to be shorter term day trades, but still stay very aware of what's happening with the bigger picture.
Okay, awesome. It sounds like a lot of these guys, you included, definitely some physical preparation in the morning to get your head into the right space there. Absolutely love to hear that. Okay, can I ask you some poignant questions about what's going on with the market here today? I'm sure you've got stocks that you want to talk about, but I did really quickly want to get your thought on some of these interest rate cuts. I know you joined there. I think we were done talking about the Fed stuff by the time you joined. But in any case, what are your thoughts on rates, cuts, and do you like any mortgage originators like Rocket, for example? I know you have a background in mortgage origination, don't you?
You did your homework.
I did.
That's good. So I do. Even at Bear Stearns, I started off just as a general bond trader, and then at that point, mortgage-backed securities. Just to give you an idea how old I am. It was in the early '80s. Mortgage-backed securities were becoming a thing, and I literally worked my way through college, originating mortgages every day. So I looked really, really, really young. I was young anyway, but I got some fake glasses. These are real, by the way. And I tried to put a little gray in my hair on the sides. It turned purple because my hair is so dark. So instead of looking older, I looked a little bit like a punk rocker. But Wall Street just thought I was the smartest guy in the world because I understood mortgages. And it was amazing that they were buying billions of dollars of these things and they had no idea. I remember at one point, the head trader at Goldman, he said to me, man, you must be really, really smart. I was like, me? No. Unless I think the C average at San Jose State is smart. Because, they were talking to only Ivy Leaguers. And I said, well, why do you think mortgage is such a big deal? And he said, well, we're trying to understand the prepayment behavior of these bonds. And I said, what do you mean? He said, well, like they don't seem to pay off like a corporate bond or government bond they in terms of their life. And I said, so you're asking why do they just sometimes not go to maturity? Yes. I said, well, sometimes people sell their houses. And his jaw dropped and he said, oh, it's tied to the home. You're buying billions of dollars of these things?
That's actually a really good story.
That's a true story. And then you'd have to be a mortgage to be able to laugh at the rest of this. But mortgage are some of the most basic terms in the world, like LTV, which is loan to value, DTI, which is debt to income. And he said, what about these like LTV? I said, oh, loan to value. They really didn't know this stuff. So I was kind of a hot commodity. So right from trading bonds, I was moved to what they called the specialized mortgage desk. And we were selling what we called at the time story bonds. So we might say, hey, you want to pay a premium for these bonds because they're going to stick around longer than other bonds. And they said, well, how do you know? We actually did have a model that would determine. And in fact, Orange County, which is where I was from, was one of those areas that had very slow prepayments. So we could get investors to spend more for these bonds because they were going to stick around. So that said, I've always been some way or another involved in the mortgage business. I was CEO of a company that we took public back in the late 90s. It was actually one of the first companies, it was the first company to do mortgages online. So again, people thought we were pretty smart and way ahead of our time, but it was obvious where that was going to go. So all that said, and then since 2008, every day, with very few exceptions, I've done a daily bond market report for the mortgage industry. And so that's grown to be, a pretty big following just because there's a lot of mortgage originators. So we follow the Fed extremely close. I just, not to be controversial or anything, it has nothing to do with Powell. He seems like a really great guy. I just have never, ever been a fan of the Fed, any Fed. I don't care who it is. We can't have a free market with the Fed. We just can't. We're 100% controlled and manipulated by the Fed. That's not a conspiracy theory. That's just, when they decide rates going to go up, then things are going to happen. And when they decide they're going to go down, things are going to happen. And if you study this, and you probably have, Ryan, the Fed's been late to every single party as far back as I can see. And we're literally seeing it play out right now. We're seeing, in my opinion, I'm not trying to put out fear or anything. I'm not saying there's something horrible coming, but I'm saying the economic data is not getting prettier. It's getting worse. And Sunday nights I do a video, and I will usually say, okay, that's one thing against economy. That's two things against economy. There's one for the economy. And at the time, Sunday night, it was hard to find anything good to say. Jobless claims are just continuing to go up. CEO confidence is going down. And all that's happening, and there's way more, but I'm talking too much. Valuations are going up, not down. And if you look at the valuations historically, we were, I think, going back 10-year average, we're about 18.2 PE, price to earnings ratio, and as of yesterday, we were like 22. So the market's overvalued. It's been able to back up its valuations. But when you start seeing the economy slip, we should see PEs slipping a little bit, and they're not. So I think there's this kind of a mixed message. And specifically, the Fed, in my opinion, has everything that he needs. I don't have a PhD, and he's got 150 of them, which is probably a problem. I actually do think it's a problem. But he should be doing something now, because what's going to happen is we're going to see a pullback. It could cause problems. We could see the economy dip further, and then he's going to be on his heels playing catch up once again.
Dan, how dare you say that, man? Inflation is transitory. I mean, look, I'm with you 100% here. We'll see how this all shakes out. But I appreciate that. I appreciate that opinion. And I'll say this, you're not alone. Not only are you not alone amongst folks that know, but you're not alone amongst this group as well. So, okay, do you like any of these stocks at all, or any of the option chains for these stocks?
Yeah, there's a couple that I'm watching that are interesting to me. I typically try to focus on stocks that you said options, where, so again, this is probably obvious to a lot of people. I'm speaking, and it's not to such a well-educated, well-informed group as you guys. But I'll just do my best. So we don't buy stocks. We sell options. So if I like Tesla, I'm not going to buy Tesla, especially not at its current valuation. I'm going to look at the chart, and I'm going to look at the valuation, and I'm going to decide where I think Tesla should be, because it's always going to go there. Not because I'm a genius or psychic. It's just that's the way things work. In the end, valuations will always drive prices. It's just not an immediate, one-to-one thing. So I'm going to find out where I like Tesla. It's usually going to be very near the bottom of a support area, and I'm going to sell options at that exact price. I have, so for those of you that don't know, if I say Tesla's going to go to 250, and it doesn't, and I sell that Tesla option, maybe I put $350 in my pocket per contract. And if it goes to that level, I get Tesla at what I would say is a wholesale price. So I'm getting paid to buy stocks at wholesale. One time I sold against the stock I wanted to own 7 times in a row. So I collected premium 7 times, and the stock never came to me. Was I crying? No. That's the beauty about the strategy. I'm agnostic. Give me the premium or give me the stock. And then when I buy the stock, Nothing that I own is long term in my mind. I do have a long term portfolio. I have a midterm, and of course, I have my daily trading account. But the whole idea is I'm not gonna pay retail for the stock, and when I own it, it's to me it's like a rental property. I'm gonna rent it out. I'm not gonna let it sit there vacant, and by that, we're gonna sell calls against that. There's an actual strategy people call the wheel.
Mhm.
Mine's modified, but it's just incredibly powerful. I was listening to I think it was last week, Adam. I wanted to listen to a recent
Mhm.
interview, so get a feel for what he was doing with you guys, and he continued to refer to collecting premium.
Mhm.
So I know he's kind of on that same page. But and he said, so I don't worry as much about holding the stocks because they're constantly making money for me. And the only time that strategy doesn't work is when the market pulls way back. But you were going to buy the stock anyway,
And at wholesale prices, mind
so
you. So pretty good
yep.
strategy, if you ask me.
Thanks.
Is there any particular setup that you like right now that you want to discuss with the group? And by the way, and I'm sorry, I got so enthralled into asking the new guest questions here, forgot to do the read for you. Sign up to trade live with Wall Street veteran Dan Radich. Am I pronouncing your name correct?
So close.
Rawich. Okay.
Like an uncooked fish.
Last time I'll screw that up, I promise you. Dan Rawich, absolutely free through June 27th. QR code's at the top of the screen there. Link is in the chat. Thank you, producer, for throwing that out there. So, Dan, you got anything that you like here? Any charts that we can show? Any setups that you like?
Yeah. So right now, I think the energy is going to be an interesting play, and I like CNP. That's Charlie November Papa.
Oh, and you do military alphabet too. Bless you, Dan. Thank you.
I know. I always think it's funny when you're calling somebody and they say, it's cottage cheese, napkin, and paper. What?
Oh.
Well, I'm a pilot, so you learn to talk that way. So there are a couple things, specifically on the 1 hour chart. It is definitely formed an upward channel. You can see that just about 20 days ago. No, I'm looking at the hour. Let me pull it up too. And I will give a plug real quick just to the indicator we developed, which is called Flight Station. Flight Station, it's 1,200 lines of code. So it's a really, really and trading view Pine script. So most of those indicators are like 40 or 50 lines of code. So it's really complex. And it did flash a buy signal. I just opened the 1 minute chart and it was horrible. I almost threw up. Well, that's good. It came to the bottom of the range so far this morning, but it began an uptrend on the 18th of June. And it seems very clear to me that it's going to take out the high from Friday the 13th. So, and then from there, I just really feel like it's got a really straight shot to like 37.60. Call it 38. Sorry. So I think that's going to be a pretty short-term play. They're really interesting. If you look longer term at the day chart, they've had a history of missing their earnings and the market not caring. Like if you look at their earnings on April 24th and you look what happened to the stock, it ran up. And if you look at what happened on February 20th, they missed their earnings. And at that point, it started to climb from 33 and did not stop until 39. That was all during missing their earnings. Time before that, this is the last one I'll tell you, October 28th, pulled back a tiny bit, but then began a run in around the 1st of November. from 28, and it really actually never
Mhm.
pulled back until it hit 39. So it's interesting, and we've got earnings coming in a few weeks, but I just think the stock is pretty good. And then I had another one. I don't know if there's time or if you
Yeah,
want
we
to
got
hear
one
it.
more. I got time for one more here.
Is it Edison?
I'm sorry. What was the ticker?
Hang on, I'm just making sure I got it right. I had such great notes, Ryan. You wouldn't even believe it. And now I can't understand them. EIX. That's not the one.
It's not EIX, Edison International.
Well, I do like EIX technically right now. They had a really good favorable earnings report, and they also have been a stock that for the most part has done well during earnings. But EIX is, let me blow this up a little bit. EIX had a pretty good pullback recently.
Yeah, that was on the California fires.
Yep, exactly. So yeah, it's riding a channel almost perfectly beginning on June 16th. And it ran to the top of the channel, which to me was on the 20th of June at a price of about 51.
Mm-hmm.
And then it pulled back to the bottom of the channel and it just bounced off of that. And our system flashed a buy signal on June 23rd at a price of 49.71. And the top of the channel is like 52 bucks. And it also, what I really love is it bounced off the 50 period moving average. And then if you're looking at a volume profile, it bounced off the point of control, which was like 49.75. So it bounced off the channel, the 50, and the POC all within a 2-day period. And before those two things happened, our system flashed a buy signal. So I like that one. I think that's going to do well over the next few weeks.
Okay, awesome stuff here. Dan, really appreciate it. Again, sign up to trade live with Wall Street veteran Dan My God, I can't.
Rawitch. Uncooked witch.
What's that? Say that one more time. You broke up there.
Uncooked witch. An uncooked witch.
Okay. Now I have no excuse for forgetting it.
If you have me back, you'll never forget.
We will absolutely have you back. So anyway, sign up to trade live with Wall Street vet Dan Rawitch. Absolutely free today through June 27th. QR code is in the top right-hand side of the screen. Dan, appreciate you coming on here. I look forward to bringing you back.
Thanks for having me, Ryan. I appreciate it very much.
No problem. We will follow up with you next time. Folks, that is Dan. The T3 guys are awesome. We're going to get more of them here. We got a new one for you here today. Really good stuff there from Dan. We look forward to having him back. And we are going to ask him some more. We're going to actually utilize his mortgage origination background when we bring him on. So be sure to stay tuned for that. Now, Dan's departure leaves room for 13. Let's check in with 13 and see how he's doing. 13, how you doing here today?
I'm having a pretty good morning. How about you?
Are you having a peaceful morning?
Yeah.
Okay, good. We are too.
Okay.
We are too. Where do you want to start? You want to hit these movers?
Yeah, let's get these movers out of the way.
All right, let's do that.
Hi,
okay, first one here, NA. And this is pretty cool because some of the movers today actually have some catalysts. And yes, Zach, we will talk about ONDS. I did see the news come across the wire there. Nice price action. Hopefully we don't sell off 7% after releasing good news like this stock sometimes likes to do, but I digress. Anyway, talking about NA here first, this is Nano Labs. Nano Labs shares are trading higher after the company announced a 500 million convertible notes private placement for its BNB treasury strategy. Yo, day trader, let's add another one to the altcoin list here. BNB coin here, BNB treasury strategy on Nano Labs. This stock was about just shy of $11 yesterday. Today, look at this, 34 we hit here in the pre-market. This stock is still up 170% here today on the back of that news. Pretty good volume here in the pre-market as well. Short interest on this stock, 1.97% of the float shorted with 3.83 days to cover. That comes on an average volume of 135,000 shares. Today, we've traded just shy of 9 million shares. Float's 5 million here. So, NA, what do you think, 13? Got some more fireworks here in NA?
Well, being that this is a China name, I imagine that we're going to see this thing get thrown around. This says the news of, I think you just mentioned it, 500 million convertible notes private placement. So they can get their B&B investment and strategic Web3 expansion going. Yep. So this company is based out of China, and I didn't have a great read on their finances, but I didn't think that was really important, considering that the news is that they are raising capital through private placement. So just went to
they need it. Boy, do they need it.
So I just basically went to the chart after that. I was like, okay, well, there's really nothing fundamental here I can draw on that much. So we have quite a massive jump here from where we were yesterday. Almost actually we traded up to 34.73, all over 3 times the amount that it was when we closed yesterday. Coming up to some resistance areas, I have 30 as one of them. This high in the pre-market, 34.73, didn't really it didn't exactly hit a level that I was observing, but I have mine at 35. I think this was about 35.70 that I wanted to have this line out here. So 35.70 was the next one I had, and then of course 42.50. Those are the levels I'm seeing on the way up. Pretty large numbers too, in some pretty short periods of time. But for me, we also have a bit of a trend line here on the 5-minute chart that I'm observing. So just keeping an eye on that.
Gotcha.
As we approach the open. I could get my thing to work. Oh, that was the wrong one. That was a horizontal line. I want a trend line. Sorry about that. So just going to have that trend line out there, waiting to see what happens around VWAP, if it can hold above that. If it does, then I think that we're going to get a break over this trend line. And that might even also simultaneously be a recapture of $30.
Okay, good stuff there. I actually have 29.50 here just from measuring the candle. Day trader here saying 29.50 was the high back to June of 2023, 47.50 back to 224.
There was when it comes to $30, I did try to take the middle area, because I do know what you're referring to. If I go back to where we had this hold on a second, this big drop that was back in 22 in September, and then there was the high that I think you're referring to from May of 2023. Where we had those highs that was near that $30 mark. So I was using that and the low from September of 22 as kind of the 2 areas where the $30 level would pretty much meet.
Okay.
So that's so $30 might not be exact, but I expect that if we are going to try to push up to those those 2022 levels, we're going to hit 30 regardless.
Okay, good stuff there. NA Nano Labs. Next on the list here is going to be NKTR. Let's see if I can do this correctly. Nancy Kilo Tango Romeo. This is Nectar Therapeutics. This stock was, let's see, about $9 yesterday, printed almost 27 here today. Now we've pulled back a little bit and actually lost the VWAP in the process on this big stick. So I kind of want to wait to let this settle out here. Real quick news here on Nectar. Oh my God. I'm not even gonna try there. Nectar's drug with like 1 billion letters meets primary and secondary key endpoints in phase 2B Resolve AD trial for atopic dermatitis, showing efficacy and safety. So getting some really good data here out of that phase 2B trial. That's driving the stock plus 115% here today. Oh my God, this has got to be a misread. Yeah, it looks like we recently had a split here. Let me check. What's that?
We did?
Yes, we did. 1-for-15 reverse stock split on June 6th. Looking at this was saying that the percent of float shorted here was just about 94%. That cannot possibly be the case. Anyway, does definitely still have some high short interest. In fact, the raw short interest is about 1 million shares higher than it was the prior read. So the short interest here is still growing. 7.32 days to cover, but we can probably knock that down a little bit. That comes on 239,000 shares of volume. We've traded 4.6 here today. Floats 12 million. What do you think, 13? Are we going to get nectar from this baby?
I think it's called Resbegaldesleukin. Is the name that you were trying to pronounce. But this is a phase 2B primary endpoint, primary and secondary endpoint result. That's why we're getting this movement here today for that drug that I just mentioned.
I noticed you didn't try to mention it again, which is probably really smart of you.
Resbegaldesleukin?
Yeah, exactly.
So
Zoom tight.
I know.
All right.
Anyway, so yeah, this company does have cash in short-term investments. Otherwise, it does need to raise capital. I don't think they're going to need to do that, considering that they are tapping into those short-term investments, or I don't even know what they have for that. But it seems like it's pretty liquid, because when you look at their cash flow, it seems like they pull money from that. You get a little indication there that they get financing from investments. So that's where I'm thinking that's coming from. Seems like they have enough for the time being. But where this ends up going, we ran up to almost $27 this morning. So that's going to be a level I have marked off. But $22 is the one we need to recapture. And then if we do, we'll have to be looking for that recapture of VWAP afterwards. But 22 is a pretty significant level that when I was looking to the left, that's where we're trading underneath, getting some support from the 15 EMA. Would like to see this turn around here and try to get back up above 22 before we open. But if we don't, then we'll just have to wait and see where this settles out at. But it does seem like it wants to turn around.
Okay, we'll see if it gets support here from its 15 EMA on the 5. I got that at 20.40. All right, next here on the list is going to be INM, and this is one that we have traded a number of times here before. By the way, thank you, Amanda, for becoming a member of Zinger Nation.
All right.
Anyway, INM here, InMed Pharmaceuticals. Shares are trading higher after the company announced preclinical data showing INM 901 reduced neuroinflammation markers in ex vivo Alzheimer's disease study. So positive data coming out here on an Alzheimer's disease study. The stock was about $2.50 yesterday, 240. We did pop over 5 here today. So number of biotech stocks here, just with pretty outsized gains. This stock's still holding here higher by about 70%. Now, we did lose the VWAP, so the first thing that I'd like to do is recapture that 443 area in there. If we take a look at the short interest on this one, 4.12% of the float shorted there, and that has 1 day to cover. That comes on a pretty small average volume of 1.3 million. Today, we've traded 40 million, and the float here is 1.2 million. So what do you think on this one, 13, ticker INM?
Yeah, so really easy to pronounce the drug name here, INM 901. They plan to advance this into additional preclinical studies. So I don't think they're starting those larger phase clinical trials quite yet. So that might bode well for their cash position, which they have 1 to 2 quarters of. So even if they are going to start advancing this into into clinical trials, I still think that they'd be okay for the time being, but they are going to have to raise capital at some point. I just don't think it'll be today, but keep that in your mind. 1.2 million shares in the float, really easy to trade. I do not like the way the chart is looking right now in the 5-minute. I get the sense that if we do manage to turn around at some point soon, and try to recapture VWAP, we're going to have to do that. And we're going to have to hold up above VWAP, because if we don't, we start to come back in, then I think we have a head and shoulders pattern to deal with.
Okay. Good stuff there. Day trader saying, I have previous levels on my chart, but they don't start until 724. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to throw 724 on the chart. We'll see if we even get there here on INM. But okay. And to your point here about the head and shoulders, sure looks like that. And in fact, what would have happened if we had peaked above this VWAP?
Right.
and then lost it in very short order. To me, I would be promoting that this is a head and shoulders on the 5 minute very, very clearly. So
I still don't think it looks great. And day trader, I think you're right. The move is in and the risk is too high. I agree with you on that. If this thing somehow came back into, I say somehow like it won't happen. I say if this thing came back into the 65 EMA pretty quickly, that'd make it more interesting and probably might set it up for, to be tradable later. But for now, I think I'd be wanting to avoid this going into the open.
Okay. Really good stuff there. You guys are saying NA's got volume. Hey,
yep.
Look at that. Good mention.
Breaking the trend line and our $30 level at the same time.
Correct. Okay. We'll see here on NA. Okay. We've done these three. Next here. Oh, you almost can't even make this stuff up. Yesterday, we traded IBO and we mistakenly called it iBio a couple of times until we had to change how we were addressing it. And today, guess what's on the movers list? You got it. It's iBio, ticker IBIO, India Bravo. Come on, Ryan, get it together. India Bravo, India Oscar is your ticker here. Stock did pop in the after hours, popped again here in the pre-market, although it's come back down to this dollar level. This to me is a pretender just because I've seen it so much here. I'm going to just straight up right now tell you I'm going to pass on this one. I'm not going to trade here on this one. But nonetheless, we're going to get you prepared for it. iBio and Astral Bio unveil obesity program with novel amylin agnostic antibody demonstrating promise in Vivio results. Data in which in an engineered amylin receptor agonist, I think I said agnostic, I'm sorry about that, agonist antibody reduced acute food intake in a mouse model of obesity by 60%, equivalent to the reduction in food intake from a clinically advanced dual amylin and calcitronin receptor amongst people of 67%. Okay, it sounds good here. I don't know. Again, I'm going to stay on this. I'm going to make a call here. I'm going to stay on the side and says this is a pretender. Your 40% move is in. This might trap some people, so be careful. If I'm wrong and you guys make money, then I'll be happy about that too. 3.84% of the float shorted here, 1.87 days to cover. That comes on an average volume of 1.36 million. Today we've traded 42.5 million. The float here is 16 million. What do you think on this one, 13?
Yeah, I think I'm kind of right there with you. You do have a trend line here on the 5 minute chart that we could, just for funsies, draw the trend line from 144 through I was the high this morning through the next high after that, which was at 640. Maybe we break through VWAP and come up to this, but I wouldn't be paying attention to the news. I think I would just be focusing on the technicals and just seeing what they're telling me because. When I look at this company, and we have traded this thing before, and it has been a dog. This thing is going to, the cash position it has right now, it's going to burn up by the next quarter. I think there could be, and I haven't looked at this yet, so I don't know for a fact, but I think there could be a capital raise coming. Well, what do you know here? We do have a Form S. iBio files to sell 11.25 million shares of common stock to holders. So, there you go. That'll tell you all you need to know about when that might happen if it hasn't already done so. So I haven't read through that. I don't know if that's the offering that could be coming, but it looks to me like they need cash. I don't think I'd be interested in this one, because it's an agnostic, it has agnostic tendencies apparently.
I'm slow. Sometimes all you can do is laugh at yourself. 13 +1 for the joke there. In fact. We'll even give you the sound effect there. This now is slipping below $1. Back to Pennyland you go. I wouldn't be shocked if this thing closed around 70, 80 cents to be quite honest with you.
I'll still keep an eye on it, but and see if there's any trade that sets up. But I think I'd be more comfortable trading the other stuff we talked about.
Yeah. Totally. All right. Next here on the list is going to be SRFM. This is, I think I get yelled at when I call it Sandy. This is Sierra Romeo Foxtrot Mary or Mike. Sierra Romeo Foxtrot Mike. Surf Air Mobility. This popped here in the pre-market to above 250, came back in to that 15 EMA on the 5 and pretty much rode that here. Did a couple of checks to see if it could get above the VWAP. The recent one is holding. So if this holds here, we actually might be able to trade up towards that 250. And then what do we have here? 254 pre-market high. See if we can end up doing that here. Here's your news. Surf Air No, this is a week old. Never mind. That the date there at the top fooled me. No news on this bad boy, up 18.9%. 5.77% of the float shorted here. That comes on 2 days to cover, and that comes on 367,000 shares of volume. We've traded 1.13 here today, so it's moving. Not a whole lot of catalyst. Don't get trapped in this one. That's what I'd be worried about. 14.3 million shares in the float. What do you got here, 13?
I didn't go over this one, but just taking a quick look at it right now, it doesn't seem like they have the cash to continue on. So there's going to be a capital raise happening here at some point. Looking at their financials, you see that they've got 6.6 million in cash and equivalents, but they burned, well, last quarter they burned through 18 million. So I think that they're going to have to raise money, and their float is 14 million. So still, still small enough. Looks like they do have an offering on the table back in April. I don't know if that's still valid. That may have ran its course before they were able to do anything with it. So I don't know. Let me look at the chart here and to see what I can find. But
Sure.
So far, SRFM not looking like something I'd be interested in.
And I'll tell you something else. Smoke Tuna, bonjour, joining us here. So far, pre-market runners not looking interesting. I would agree with that. I would agree with that.
Yeah. So looking at the 5-minute chart here, it's interesting because it looks like it's trying to make a move higher, back up to 250. Volume's not looking great, and it seems like it's still having a hard time getting over 230. So let's do this. If this manages to start closing in the 5-minute chart over 230, I think there could be at least a short-term run up to 250, maybe a little bit higher. So let's just see. I'm going to put a line out here at 230 just to see what we get. And if we start closing over that, then I'll see if we can get a trade in there. But I don't want to force anything. I'm just looking at what's setting up. It seems like 230, being that that's there's only literally one close on the 5-minute chart over that. That was from this morning. We had that 250 pop. Since then, not able to get above it, but it continues to get hammered as we approach the open. So I'm getting the sense that this is going to try and take out 230 and try to push at that 250 level again. So just something I'm going to be watching for. But aside from that, nothing really else interesting to me about this company.
Yeah, the only caveat, so this does look like this bounced off a 180 support area. That's one thing. Really the only thing here, and this might just be a throw-in. This might not even be anything great. Surf Air Mobility showcased its Surf OS AI-enabled operating system, which is powered by Palantir. So you're going to have that in there. Maybe that gives it a little bit. I have no idea about the OS or the platform itself. So
Wing Trader is saying Palantir acquire over 1 million shares of this company. Okay. I don't. When was that?
When was that? I don't have that here. I'm not disputing it. I just don't know. But when was that? We could probably look that up.
Yeah, I don't think we're disagreeing whatsoever, especially with that headline that you just pointed out. With Palantir.
Here he is. Look at
Perfect.
this. Here it is. Good, great call here. This is back in March of this year. Palantir Technologies buying 244,000 shares for just about $1 million. That's a great call there, Wing Trader.
Look at the top. The very top. Look at the very top.
There. Oh, and then right up here, 1.04. Oh,
yeah, God, they are. Yeah, just look.
And there's a whole bunch in here.
Yeah, they are in and out of this thing. Yeah, great mention. And that was a really big purchase that they just did. What was that? Yesterday? That was yesterday.
Yeah. So
maybe that's the real news.
They now own a total Palantir here as of this grid here. Palantir owns 4.46 million. So this recent thing was just one transaction.
They own almost an entire quarter of the outstanding shares.
So there you go. And the platform runs on Palantir's technology. So there you go. Okay, that is interesting. Really good stuff there. Awesome stuff here from the group. I don't know how many of these other ones are really going to be interesting. This Resolve AI, did we actually have a PR here? Yeah. So this is actually, this was from yesterday. It's set to join the Russell. This was yesterday morning. I did really quickly want to cover ONDS just because this was mentioned. Here is ONDS. Ondas and Mistral sign a strategic partnership to accelerate U.S. defense and homeland security sales for autonomous drone platforms. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead. I was obviously live when this news dropped. I have not read the PR yet. I promise I will do that here for you, and I'll give you my opinion on this. Here's the one thing that I'm going to say. I'm going to try to take you guys know I'm a glass half full person, but I'm going to try and be, this is something that I own and this is something that I want to work. So I'm going to try and play devil's advocate and be as unbiased as I can here. The way this reads, they're signing a strategic partnership. That's great. Absolutely great news. Here's what I want to know. Accelerate the U.S. defense and homeland security sales. Tell me when you get some of those sales. That's really what we need. If this company starts getting sales and you can track all of that, this thing is going to move. No question about it. This is a great first start. I want to see some of those sales numbers. It's time to put up or shut up.
You got to wait till August.
Well, I know, but I'm trying to be dramatic here. Thanks for spoiling all that.
All right.
So anyway, it's good news here. Is the stock going to trade up 10%? I don't know. Let's see this actually matriculate into sales. That would be ideal, and we'd actually have something good here. To 13's point, we'll see if that happens here in August. But that's what's going on here with ONDS. I also noticed that Zeta, ZETA, this was moving around earlier. Let's see. Do we have any news here today? No news here, but this is gapping a little bit. Traded up in the after hours yesterday, holding higher than the VWAP here today. Possible breakout from this area, 815-ish. We'll see if we move higher here. 19 would be your next target there on ZETA. Okay, 13. We've only got 10 minutes left here. I think it was Sean wanted to take a look at Pony, which is Pony AI.
Sure.
So we're going to start with that. But otherwise, I don't have any stocks yet that people wanted to take a look at. So we can always ask the group or hear from you.
After Pony, we could see what Tesla's doing because that's been a hot topic lately.
Okay,
but let's look at Pony.
Let's do that. Here is Pony. Now, this was a huge winner. Smoke Tuna, wasn't this one of the stocks that you had called right in here at the end of April with the start of a huge multi-day move? Pretty sure that this is one that you had talked about a while ago. Sorry, adding some of these stocks to the list so I don't forget. Anyway, we had a huge move up to this area that this made a lower high, That gave us a downward sloping trend line. We're really unable to punch through that. This was right around the 20 handle. Now we've started to break back and come back down to earth. We came back into the 100. We bounced because we're doing price discovery. We gave the 100 up. We bounced off the 50. We gave that up. So next here is going to be what's the next level? I pretty much have this at 864. Maybe we get some there at 10. Maybe. We'll see here on Pony. Was there news? No new news on this. And your short interest here, 5.94%. That's on 1 day to cover. And that comes on an average volume of 12 million shares. Today, we've traded basically nothing. So I don't know that this is necessarily going to be a day trade here today, but this is what your long-term chart looks like. 13, what do you think?
With a float of 140 million, I don't anticipate that this is going to trade anywhere like the movers that we're looking at today. That float's a little heavy for it to have some really meaningful price action unless there's a catalyst. So when looking at the chart, I'm thinking that with the way that we had this, what it looks to me like a reversal candle from yesterday, I'd be curious to see if we are going to end up trading up high enough to where we can recapture that 50-day SMA. That would be my next thing that I'd be watching for with this one. I am a little bit encouraged about how it seems like the selling has somewhat slowed down.
Mm-hmm.
The MACD is also indicating that that same thing. The RSI is showing that it's not oversold, but it's certainly come down off of being oversold. Overbought last month. So I think that if with give it a little bit more time, see if we can recapture. I mean, I don't know what your trade plan is for this, but for me, if I was going to consider going long in this, I'd want to see it start to turn around and recapture that 50-day SMA. That'd be a good indicator for me that this is still have some strength left in it. That candle yesterday really does look like a reversal, so I'd want to see if that shakes out.
Okay, all right, good stuff there. My trade plan here on Pony is to avoid it. So there you go. All right. All right. Next here on the list, you wanted to take a look at Tesla. Let's do it.
Sure.
Here is your Tesla chart. This is awesome because we're currently sitting above the trend line. It is worth noting, though, that yesterday we pushed up to 350 and this trend line, and we could not close above either of them. We peaked above both of them. We tested it, but we couldn't close above them. Now, here we are, gapping up another 2% here this morning. By the way, just going back to what Dan Rawich, by the way, we're going to not screw that up again. I was a little embarrassed I did that. He was talking about his setups about when things crack the pre-market high, they often give you a little bit of a pop. He had some more specifics in there, but I'm just generalizing. We see that here all of the time. So I would be looking for this. Now, 360 is a level here, but the actual high that I had here is 359.03. So we'll see if we end up getting that pre-market break here on Tesla. What do you think, 13? What do you got here for us?
Well, this break of the trend line is great if you're bullish on Tesla, because this is the first step in going higher. Now, I think that we are going to, if we do get a close above this today, we are going to see it probably back test this trend line before it launches higher. So I would expect a little bit more sideways action, maybe some broadening of the price above this trend line. But I think that we are going to get a back test of this. Just don't know when or how. But I'd expect that to happen, this week, maybe even next week. But to me, this move over the trend line is pretty important. If we're looking for more upside. So this is just an early first step. Need to see some closes above the trend line and a move over 360 in the coming days, and that would set us up really nicely. There's some other trend lines we can also look at, but for now, this trend line that we just moved over and the 360 level, two things that I need to see get taken out.
Yeah, I got 391, by the way, after that 360 level. So we'll see if we can hit that. Okay, good stuff there on Tesla. Next here, I'm just going down the list from what you guys said, so I'm not ignoring anybody. TDOC is the next one here. TDOC, let's see, this is a candle here from today. TDOC up 4% here. This had a big move yesterday. This was actually a great trade yesterday. We're holding higher here. We really do want to make sure that that holds, though, instead of rolling back over. Remember, the catalyst here comes from yesterday. It was midday. It was actually while we were on the show here. Citron Research saying that the coiled spring wall, the world's largest telehealth platform, now trades at just 1.2 billion in market cap. Yet it quietly owns BetterHelp, the number one brand in online therapy, who's doing an absolute blitz of podcast and television advertising, by the way. Until now, BetterHelp operated as a cash pay only. That meant 80% of potential users were unable to use it. So definitely drawing a bullish scenario here on Teladoc. Stock was great yesterday, up another 4.4% here today. 13, you got any thoughts on this one? I guess I could take a look at the short interest here as well. 17.17% of the float charted with 5.03 days to cover, and that comes on 5.5 million shares of average volume. It certainly does feel like yesterday we had a little bit of a squeeze action in there, 13. My question is going to be, do we see a multi-day move here? Now, the days to cover is high enough. We'll see if we end up getting more of a squeeze here today.
Today, the movement I anticipate is going to be off of relative volume. That was a big volume day that we had yesterday, getting back over the 20 and 50-day SMAs. I wouldn't be surprised if we actually had a test at the 200. That's going to be at 895, and we're in the pre-market at 824. So I don't think it's anywhere near out of the realm of possibility. Okay. I think we could very well see a test of the 200. Whether or not we get over it, maybe. But if we do trade over it, I'd be looking at $10.
Okay.
That's right, Jay. They absolutely were. That's why we had the relative volume.
Yep. Here is your $10 level if we're able to get past that 200 day.
Yeah, and the important thing about that is look what happened back in February. We'd lost that level, and then we spent a few days trying to recapture it. And when we couldn't do that, we ended up, because that was also
we resolved lower and put this bottom in.
Right, because that was also a failure to recapture the 200. So that failure led to lower prints. So this interaction that we're about to have with the 200 again, pretty important, especially if we recapture it. I think that's going to really turn things around for the stock if we start closing over the 200-day SMA.
Okay, really good stuff there on TDoc. Okay, Dustin, you asked me, can you guys explain the securities fraud with TEM? Seems like it's been in the news for a while now. It's causing the price to drop, or is TEM just cooling off right now? Okay, so here is TEM. First of all, just a look at this chart, Dustin. With just the news completely aside, looking at this chart, there doesn't look like there's anything wrong with this. This just looks like regular old price action. I mean, there's no like huge gaps or anything based on any of this. It's just kind of back and forth here on this. So just simply looking at the price action there, nothing. Are you referring to this?
There's headlines from the Friday. We're going to open pretty soon in less than a minute, but there's headlines from Friday and Wednesday last week about securities fraud investigation.
Yeah. Okay.
What the thing is that what's really interesting about it is it also comes after two insider sellers. So I think that's kind of what he was getting at, is like, it's a little concerning to see that, a sequence of events.
Dustin, I can make this easy for you. Can you explain the securities fraud with TEM? Yeah, these are ambulance chasing lawyers that are just trying to make a buck, and you can absolutely disregard this garbage. How's that? How's that for you? This to me, we see this all the time: insider sales, transactions, buyouts, offerings. That they're just trying to make a buck. If you have a trade plan here on TEM, you can completely disregard those PRs. They're nonsense. Frankly, they're nonsense.
All right, we're about to open. We're open. Here we are. So we can get to some of those other names later after we figure out what's going on here with these movers. NA moving over 30 again out of the gate here. INM trying to get back up to VWAP. Remember, this is the one that looks like it could head and shoulders and sell off. NKTR sideways out of the gate. iBio, that's still trying to hold on to its 200 EMA on the 5-minute. And SRFM still trying to deal with that 230 level we talked about. So not a whole lot of special movement out of the gate with really any of these. Maybe NA, but other than that, nothing too fancy.
Okay, one other thing that happened yesterday, I didn't really cover it because I'm just unsure. I'm unsure where it's going to go from here. We got a report right after we got off happy hour that Starbucks was going to sell its China division. Starbucks rises on report it's mulling a sale of its China business. Now, as of this morning, they've denied that. Starbucks reportedly denies plans to sell the China operations amid the market speculation. This is what we got in terms of movement. But if you see that floating around out there, that's what's going on here. It was rumored that they are selling the China division. They denied it. It is what it is. Here we go on NA, by the way.
Yeah, it's trying to get over that 3160 something, I guess, because that's kind of been the resistance area ever since it lost it at around 755 this morning. This hasn't been able to recapture that level.
Tesla pulling out of the open, giving up all of its pre-market gains.
Here we go with INM. This is up to the VWAP now. So if we are going to get that head and shoulders resolution, it could be coming soon. Maybe we get a little bit more, height out of this, like it goes up into the higher, like, under 20 or 30 cents higher before it pulls. But keeping an eye on INM to see if we end up getting this head and shoulders or if it's just going to rip higher.
Okay, CRCL, what's happening here? We're just getting a pullback. This thing has made a ridiculous run. Now it appears that we're pulling back a little. I don't want to be a prisoner of the moment and say, yeah, this is going to be a day where Circle goes down. This thing has been moving up on the stablecoin news, the Genius Act passing, all of that stuff here. Looks like it's just taking a bit of a breather, although it is pulling back 7% here. I don't think Kathy Wood ended up selling $109 million. We covered that earlier. My God, wow. I'm so sorry. And actually bought AMD, Robinhood, and TSMC with those proceeds. This is what's going on here in Circle, John. It's pulling back, I guess, based on the huge run that it's made. In addition, Kathy Wood's sales of the stock.
Getting a mention that BBAI really moving, going higher, says Ray. Sure enough, we do have a move out here. BBAI. Looks like it's a nice 25-cent move, but we're looking for 480. That's the level I still have marked off at this one. So let's see if we get 480. After that, I'd be looking for 6, maybe just under 6, but 6 nonetheless. All right. As far as these other names go, it looks like iBio is trying to take out the 65 EMA. So, maybe there is some hope for this one after all. It's also where the VWAP is. So let's see if it can do that. I need to see better volume than this. It's, still a big question mark for me, but just something I thought I'd mention.
LAES being mentioned here in the chat. Let's take a look. Looks like this popped initially. Did we have news on Seals Q here?
They launched a satellite, I believe.
Yeah. Galactic Christ. Is it Christ?
SRFM with a big knife here after failing to recapture 230. No halt, but it did go down to the 65 EMA. It's trying to pull itself back up now. NA, that pulled. That's coming down to its VWAP. Looks like INM just had that move that we were looking for, and it kind of pulled off of it. Now we have to wait and see if this is going to go higher to the 536 high from this morning, or if we're going to end up pulling off of this and getting a head and shoulders resolution.
Is he screaming in all caps again that there's huge news on Uber? Uber is popping above the trend line here. What news?
Uber says riders in Atlanta can now access Waymo autonomous.
That's a partner.
I'm just looking at what's being mentioned.
Yeah, no,
today.
okay. So guys, little pro tip here with Benzinga Pro. When the source says partner, this means it comes from a partner newsfeed. Nothing from a partner newsfeed is breaking news. Nothing, literally nothing. These are stories that have been written elsewhere that we are giving to you through the newsfeed here. This is not breaking news. So this was already known. I maybe this is what this is moving on. I'm skeptical, straight up. Izzy, what's the news that you're referring to here?
Is Tesla dead? Let's see how that's doing. Okay, so that had a big pull here. Coming back down to test that trend line that we were just talking about. So let's see here. And I don't think it's dead, but let's just wait and see what ends up shaking out here. It's under 350, and trying to get some support from that trend line, as well as some other, as well as the 348.50 level. It looks like if this comes back in, we could think that 340 might be a support area. Anyway.
INM did get volume. This trading up towards 5 here. Yep. This actually, though, 13, this could actually make a head and shoulders formation here.
That's what I was getting at. It could be. That's what I'm waiting to see, is if we do end up going higher, taking out 536, which would invalidate it, or if we're going to pull back off this movement and get a resolution of that head and shoulders. That would mean that it's going to fall under 4. And once we get that, I think we'll start to see the resolution of that. But MACD is curling up, so we'll see if we end up getting that head and shoulders or not. BBAI still having a hard time getting above 450 and holding. It is above the view up right now, but I'm not liking the way those upper shadows are looking.
ONMD, this is a penny stock that you guys had brought up earlier. This is trying maybe to go through 70.
LAES popped up to 424. That broke over the pre-market high of 409.
RZLV Resolve AI blasting off here. This going above the pre-market high, above yesterday's pre-market high as well.
Would you just say it's resolving higher?
I would say it is resolving higher indeed.
All right. NA losing its VWAP. Looks like NKTR Nectar is also coming down to its 65 EMA. No trades setting up for that one yet.
Yeah.
iBio still has not been able to take out that 65 VMA and VWAP, even though we just tested it 5 minutes ago. Still getting support from the 200 EMA. If we lose that, I'd say look somewhere else. SRFM, after that big down move through the 65 EMA, it has come right back up to 230. See if
And actually, this looks like this might try and go higher here. 13, I'm going to step away for 1 sec. BRB.
Sounds good. Meanwhile, Circle is circling back to the 241 low, coming down there. It's actually at 245 right now, but coming down to the low, the pre-market, it looks like that was 241 and the penny. BDAI back up here over 450, trying to break the session high of 454 that we just made 5 minutes ago. Still running the sellers up there, it looks like. LAES, not sure if that's a higher print or not, but 424 still is the high right now, and that's above the VWAP. All right, and Nectar going down to the 65 EMA. And looks like we did get a little bit of a breakout move here in INM. That went a little bit higher, not higher than the 536 pre-market high, though it is getting pretty close to invalidating this head and shoulders pattern. We just get above 536. I think this thing is going to take off. And NA looks like it's going to halt to the downside. Finally lost its VWAP. It's starting to build up shares around 24.54. Waiting for the halt. There it is.
And which one?
That was NA.
NA. Okay.
Yep. Big ol' broadsword down.
Yikes.
Yep. I don't think that that was something that we didn't expect. But look at INM. That one is going to invalidate the head and shoulders. This thing is going.
Okay, INM going. Also, NVTS getting mentioned here by Joe. Joe said another user mentioned NVTS. It might have been Crow because I think he's been all over this for a while. This did pop here out of the gate. Let's see what we got for news here. There we go. VREMT presents Navitas with Outstanding Technical Collaboration Award. Okay.
We're getting more higher prints from BBAI. Looking for 480.
Okay, I don't really know why that PR is driving this higher here, but higher we go. So let me go to BBAI now. Where's Jay Rice? Mullins up 20% today.
You were asking why NVTS is up?
No, I figured out. I just said that the PR there, it seemed kind of fluffy. Just I haven't gone through it, but it seemed kind of fluffy on the top.
It might be, but you also have a pretty significant short interest in this one. You've got, well, it's only one day to cover, but it's 21%. And looking at the chart, you do have a nice balance off the 20-day SMA. It does look like this wants to try and get going here above 750. So we'll see if we end up getting that today. But 750 is a really interesting spot for me. I think we could end up going up to that today.
Okay. INM stopped at 550 and came back in a little bit.
All right. Do you want to draw a trend line on that one?
On INM?
Mm-hmm. Use the high from 710 and draw it through the high of 8 o'clock. And that's where I think you might see the price run to. Yep.
That would be a pretty good move there if you end up getting that.
So that would be
a good move.
That'd be somewhere over 6, probably around 630 to 640 if we end up getting that move in the next 5-10 minutes.
S&P 500 futures here ticking up right now. S&P 500 futures up by about 9/10 here as we continue to move higher.
Speaking of moving higher,
Rocket 15.
BBA. Nice. BBAI.
15 in the pre-market. Here's BBAI. Let me put it on screen for you. Sorry.
Looking for that 480. Give it to us.
When 13 starts singing to the stocks, you know you got yourself something. That's just how it goes right there. BBAI, nice move here. I wish I owned this thing. I know when we first looked at BBAI, I was very skeptical of it. Then I started learning about it, talking to other people that liked it. I actually think this might be good. No position, though.
Looks like smoke. I'm sorry. No, the Crow's watching iBio. That's also still trying to get above its 65 and VWAP. The 65 EMA and VWAP still getting rejected, though.
Jay, 18
SRFM
20% on Mullen. LOL.
SRFM broke over that 230. Looking at the some of these pre-market highs. Now we're approaching the one from 605 this morning. 250 is the one as the high of the pre-market. Not too far away from that. All right, BBAI 475, just 5 cents away from the 480 that we're looking for. I expect that once we hit 480, we're either going to break through it and close the candle over it, or we're going to get rejected and it's going to set up to try and take the next move over it later on. But 480 is a resistance area.
CDTX from yesterday is actually up another 13% here today. This did try to just pop above its pre-market high and really get going, although it's pulled back. Maybe put this one on the back burner, see if you get some more volume flow in CDTX. Yeah, sorry, 13. One sec here. The other thing is that Tesla might be showing an intraday bottom here on the 5-minute. See if this candle can close here. This candle closes in 2 minutes here. This might be an entry on Tesla for those of you looking to go long.
Seeing that there was a mention for Black Sky by thinking about it. This is one of the space plays.
Yep.
Looks like they just got a 24 million NGA delivery order for their Luno A facility monitoring. Anyway, Black Sky is one of the space names. It's got some decent short interest. We're seeing some movement in that one, but hold on a second. I thought there was something I saw that I wasn't sure about. Yeah, so it is nice movement, but I don't know that I'd be. You can try and trade this one up here if you want, but I don't think I'd be wanting to pick it up for a longer term hold because the candle today looks like it could be a bit toppy. So let's let this thing come back in. I would say this has had a nice run from 11. And we're up here at 17. I think this thing needs a cool off. BBAI topping up. Happy to warn it. Well, I mean, it's nice that we have a ceasefire. I don't know about the war ending, but you know, it's nice that we have that ceasefire at least. BBAI. Here we go. There it is. 481 now. It's looking for 480. This can back off now. That'd be great. Or it can rip if it wants. I don't care. The whole trade there is done. But if this sets up again and decides to go through 480, we have another trade this some more. But for now, I think 480 is going to be a resistance area. I'd like to see it pull off of that.
Yes, Aura, it is. Yes, it is. It is still a ceasefire. That stuff this morning looks like they shook that off. BBAI. Lion mentioning TTD is having a great day? No way. This thing is barely up on no volume. Lion, what? I'll be honest with you. This has been a massive disappointment. I'm sorry to say, TTD. I'm sorry for anyone that followed in trying to play this move higher here. This has been a massive disappointment recently. Had a good first initial bounce. This thing has almost no carry through here. I understand we're up 2.2% here today, but it's on nothing. The volume is pathetic, and the stock's still in a 70 handle.
INM getting some support near the VWAP, trying to turn around and take out that 550 high intraday. Black Sky still pushing higher. If we continue to go higher, 18 looks like the next resistance area. Lots of short covering in those 10 to 20% short names. And there are a lot of them.
Yeah, there are
a lot of them.
Yeah, there are.
All right, so Smoke Tuna, you're going to take INM from VWAP. That'd be awesome. That looks like that could work. iBio still trying to push higher. The more we hammer this VWAP and 65 EMA and iBio, the more I'm thinking that this is going to end up breaking through it, and we'll get to that trend line that we drew earlier. The component that's missing is volume. Just a little bit more volume to help push this over VWAP and that 65 EMA. I think we're going to get that trend line test.
WFF open here. What is this? WF holding.
Speaking of disappointments, Cooler can use to disappoint day after day. Well, they just had a reverse split, and I don't think they're going to start trading. They might trade better soon, but not right now. Yeah, let's see. Where's that at right now? Cooler. Okay, so we hit 7 in the pre-market, and then we've been leaking ever since. The lows from yesterday took us down to 567, but there was a lot of buying there. I would be looking at some of the low points from yesterday for areas of support. So it looks like $6 is going to be one of them, and of course the 567 low. So I'd be looking at those areas for support, but I don't think there's there's any reason to jump into this at the moment.
WFF here. This stock's up 56% here. Two PRs here this morning. They announced plans for a major investment in China, and they enter into the digital cryptocurrency field. So this is what's going on here with WF. I know this just got out of a volatility halt. You saw the huge run and the huge pullback yesterday, so keep that in mind here. This thing might pull back on this. Just be careful with this one.
NA hit the 65 EMA, currently getting support from it, but I need to see some, actual reversal happening if it's going to move off of this.
NA, this to me is a no touch.
It looks like Nectar Therapeutics are trying to turn around. It still has the task of recapturing some of these smaller EMAs like the 9 and the 15 before it gets to VWAP. Let's see if it continues with the volume. iBio still having a hard time. SRFM, this is drifting down to the 230. Now, if it gets support here, that would be great for it, and this could turn around and trade higher, maybe back up to 250 from the pre-market, but it needs to get support here. BBAI blasted over 480, went to 489, and it's still hanging out above 480 for the time being. LAES, this looks like it's trying to set up to go higher, but needs to hold V up. I'm sorry?
I'm having a real tough time following you. None of these stocks that today are on the scanner at all. So it's like I have to. No, it's not your fault. It's just it's very, very difficult for me to keep up with the screen share here today.
INM, this one did get support from VWAP. It looks like it's trying to push higher. Need to see a little bit more volume, but it's trying to move up and retake 5.
Hey, Tesla bouncing off that spot. I said, hey, look at this reversal candle. Nice stuff there on Tesla. You got what? 3 points out of that? 4 points actually already on that. I would trim into this candle here as we approach VWAP, by the way. Here's Hood, which we talked about earlier. This popping on the back of Cathie Wood, rotating into Hood here today after selling Circle. Yeah, Smoke Tuna, I'm referring to my scanner, which is looking for relative volume. It's not picking up a lot of the. Normally on any given day, I see a list of stocks here, and most of them that we're talking about are in the list. So it's easy for me to keep up. Today it is the complete opposite. Maybe one, maybe two of them are in there. Very, very difficult. It's no big deal. I just mentioned it out loud because I was frustrated. I'm sorry. I won't do that again.
Yeah, Nectar is looking like it's trying to turn around here, getting some mentions on that. Still, like I said, still has to recapture those EMAs and VWAP. LAES, that is looking like it's still trying to set up here. As long as we hold above VWAP, we could make this bull flag resolve. BBAI, this is getting some support from 480. Need to hold there so we can try and push higher and up to that $6 level that I mentioned earlier. It still has to get through the psychological $5 level first. But nice move this morning in BBAI. Just needs to hold above 480 if we're going to push higher. Looks like Circle is also setting up to try and go higher as well. After it sold this morning, it had a nice move up.
Trying to go red-green here.
Certainly is, yeah. All right, so LAES needs to hold VWAP here, or else this is coming back in. Looks like we're getting some across-the-board weakness in these names.
Market's still holding here, 604.5 on the SPY. And actually, the NASDAQ did dip a little off that recent move higher.
That's the SPY.
Apple getting crushed right now. Here's your Apple chart. I know it's only down 0.4 here, but this has been nothing but selling out of the open. We'll see if 200 can hold here.
The SPY getting support from a previous all-time high of 604.32. That's been kind of holding above that level all morning. Pepsi and Target, boring stocks, looks like they're curling up. Sounds good to me.
AMD going higher here. This also on the back of that Cathie rotation. iNod here, really good AI name that we've discussed a number of times after a fairly significant dip yesterday out of the open. 50 handle recapture here today. Mullen, no surprise here, has really pulled back from its 20% move earlier. All Jay had to do was look at it.
Big bear hug. Thank you. He's pointing out Nike has earnings on Thursday. Estimates are really low. That could bode well for the stock, especially if it beats the expectations.
And especially, sorry.
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
And especially since it's done a really good job holding $60 recently. It's traded sideways above the $60 level, which we had identified as being a key support long before it even broke it.
All right, looks like we're starting to get a little bit of a lift after that pull in the market here. Seeing BBAI trying to pull itself back over 480. And looks like
daily chart here on BBAI looks great. 515 maybe.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if that ended up going back to those highs that we saw earlier, like in the 10s. INM getting a little bit of a reversal here too after hitting VWAP. Some of these names looking like they're turning around here.
Coinbase ripping to the highs. Good mention here, Lynn.
Yeah, how's Bitcoin? Bitcoin's had a really nice recovery ever since it was it sold off over the weekend. It went right down to 99.
That recapture of 100 really kind of firmed it up. And you know what, 13? We're down from what was this, about 106? Yeah, 106. This was very early this morning, about 2 o'clock in the morning. We were at about 106. Come in a little bit there, but not totally breaking down. Nectar might be trying to bounce here, but I wouldn't trust that yet. Here's INM. This so far bouncing off of that VWAP.
Mm-hmm. Trying to turn around, go pot, and turn this red candle green.
What do you think? A recapture of 5 might help that out?
Yeah, it's looking for 5.
Okay.
Looks like iBio is still trying to take another shot at that VWAP and 65 EMA. It just needs, enough volume will take it. Will take it over that, but it's just not getting it right now. BBAI really holding up that 480 pretty
Oco
well.
at the highs. Good mention here, Glenn.
Nice. Smoke Tuna, you're looking at, you're still watching INM? Looking for that. Go ahead.
Gurr tried to get everything back that it lost yesterday. This was a rough move down yesterday for Gurr holders. Tried to get everything back right out of the open here. Couldn't go green necessarily. Couldn't go higher than that initially, but pulling back here. Gurr, pretty interesting. SMR, Oklo, I bet NNE is the same. No, the NNE a little bit more muted. EYEN, this was a recent mover. This at the highs. Oh my God. I'm not in any of these.
Looks like almost all the space names are positive. The only ones that aren't are Iridium and Cooler. And
I think Redwire got an upgrade this morning, 13. Indeed, Redwire price target raised to 25 from 20 at Roth. HC Wainwright reiterating its buy and maintaining its $26 price target.
Sounds good to me. Sounds good to me. All right.
So it wasn't actually an upgrade. It was a price target readjustment, nonetheless, plus 5.5% on the day here today.
BBAI still trying to move off of that 480, looking to take out that 489 high that it printed about 10 minutes ago. And just looking at some of these other names, and that's it, man. NA, this is continuing to go lower. Now trading beneath its 65 EMA. Glad I pointed out this is a China name because it's certainly behaving like one now. At some point, I anticipate that this will find a bottom, maybe later on this morning or later on intraday, and you'll see a big turnaround in NA. Some of these names end up doing that. So not suggesting that anybody tries and trades it for that, but it's just something that I've seen. So if you're looking to take a risk, then maybe that one's for you.
RGC with a nice little pop here, although it's come back in. I did see it seems like the last couple of days, there have been a number of people on FinTwit talking about shorting this name. Just something to keep an eye on. I'm staying away from it. Actual short interest here, not crazy, but that read is as of June 3rd. Actually, we're due for another one.
I can't see the chat anymore. It wants me to log in.
Great.
Cool stuff, Restream.
What just can you put a screenshot in Slack so we can try and diagnose this? Because it just disappears and just doesn't show you anything.
All it does is just the chat goes away, and in place of it is a login, so that I can post as me. And there you are. Anyway, back to this. Looking for some movement here. Not really getting it with much of these names. Seems like they're trying to figure out which direction to go. Some of these, others are trying to break over some levels. LAES trying to hold VWAP. It's trading underneath it for the moment. BBAI looking like this is trying to push up to 5. Circle looking like this is losing its VWAP. SRFM back to 230 still. 230 seems to be the level for this stock. INM coming down to VWAP as well.
EYEN, more highs here. Nectar stopped by that 15 EMA that we talked about.
BBAI has a large seller at 490. We take that out, I think we see 5.
You guys mentioning LEU.
SRFM moved over 230, came back down to it now. And this thing does not want to give up 230. INM going lower. You have support down at $4. I'm not sure it's going to hold.
NBIS was with actually a pretty good move here. Wow, this above the trend line running up. We do have some resistance here about 53 and 55 on NBIS. A breakout of that might send it to a 60 handle.
You remember what I said about that candle yesterday in NBIS?
No, I'm sorry, man.
This was during happy hour. We were getting asked about this, and I said yesterday's candle that looks like a reversal candle, especially after testing the 20-day SMA. Let's look at the daily.
Yep,
that was beautiful, beautiful reversal.
Yeah, and indeed it is. Plus almost 10% here on NBIS.
This is the kind of movement that makes me think it's going to 55.
Okay, 55. Definitely some resistance up there.
Yeah, I like 55.
AMRZ having a good day. This was an IPO from yesterday. Indeed. Look at this. Boy, I'll tell you what. Here's what I've learned. Don't buy IPOs. The IPO that I do is literally the opposite of this. I'll tell you what. That is... I'm going to stay away from them. I obviously cannot trade IPOs to save my life. Good stuff here, though, Kathy. Really good stuff on this. It's
even the
unbelievable.
Even the market was undecided with this one yesterday. You had a very neutral candle on its first day. All right, LAES looks like this is it just recaptured its VWAP. If we get some more volume, this is going to trade a lot better, but it looks like it wants to go higher, maybe up to 425. SRFMs, I keep saying it, but actually this may finally make its move. It's looking to try and get over 240 after dealing with 230 for what seems like forever. So let's see if we can continue to close over 230. That might help us take over, good over 240. LAES rising. INM, this thing still looks like it's going lower. It's looking for 4 still. Looks like NA trying to recapture its 65 EMA. So here we go with, later on this morning, as trying to come back. We'll see if it ends up going any higher, or if it's just going to move up to some of these lower EMAs and the VWAP in this reverse. BBAI.
What do you think about it? Do you trust this? I don't trust this at all, dude. I'll be honest with you.
Oh, I don't trust most of these stocks.
Yeah. I was gonna say, I don't trust this move at all.
I'm just looking for setups that might provide a quick trade. I would not be holding any of these names. Maybe BBAI, but other than that, no.
WFF, after pulling back after that halt, trying to go through the VWAP again and through.
LAES trying to resolve higher, still running into that resistance at 417. But man, like I said, just a little bit more volume, and we can take out some of these sellers here. LAES has a lot of a lot of sellers from about 417, a lot in 420, 425. So don't know if we're going to get that height, but if we get enough volume to lift it over all those sellers, this thing is going to go on a run.
450, another spot of note here on LAES.
Yep. I'm just waiting for BBAI to hit that $5 mark. That would be a good spot to cool off.
I'll be honest, I don't see any good setups right now for new trades. Zero. Tesla was the only one. Tesla looks like it gave a lot of that back.
Well, let's look at some of these other larger names. Let's look at Lululemon, because I know that was getting hammered. Oh, look at this.
It was on the scanner earlier today, actually.
Another reversal candle. That's a really prominent reversal candle too. I mean, this thing has got I'm surprised we didn't pay more attention to this. Super low RSI reversal candle after multiple days of just getting sold off. Actually, we could say multiple weeks at this stage. Now, here's what I'm looking at with Lululemon. Oh, perfect. You have the trend line. Thank you. So the trend line that you have there, that's going to be the resistance. If we continue to trade back up, Lulu, that's the resistance I'd be looking at. That's going to be at about, what, 238? That's about what I got.
Yeah, I think so. Let's see. Yep, 238. I have 238.93, but that's just my mouse inaccuracy. 238, I think, is safe there, 13.
Yeah, so there's a potential for at least, to recapture $6 on this bounce move. I don't think that we're seeing Lulu turn around and go back up over 300. I'm not confident we're seeing that quite yet.
Okay.
I need to see some other things happen first, but it's encouraging sign, especially that reversal candle that bounced off of 220. No, almost 220 exactly. 3 cents, 3 cents below 220. All right, back to some of the other things we've been trading today. Look at the fight that's about to happen with BBAI.
Let me go back. Let me see if I can find it here. Here you go.
There was a big wall of buyers at 490 that just got taken out, but man, this thing is really trying to push for 5.
Powell is speaking. That's a good mention here.
Oh, okay. So market pull.
Well, yeah. I mean, it looks pretty flat right now. I guess he just started his testimony here. I guess that's one of the things that we can look at if we notice a sharp change in the market.
Mm-hmm. NA turning around. Here it comes back up to those EMAs and VWAP. Yeah, for SPY, it looks like we did start to sell off, and then we recaptured that 604.32. But we're still kind of hanging out right at that area. I would think that if the market does pull while he's giving his testimony, that it'd be a good opportunity to maybe go long after he's done. We've observed how that works sometimes.
Do you have a level that we should pull to that might make that more enticing?
If 603.35 doesn't provide that, then I would think 602. 602 has been a pretty strong support area this month when we're coming back down to test it as support. I just don't know if we're going to end up getting that low.
Okay.
Just waiting to see if we end up getting a turnaround here on some of these other names. NA still trying to make a move for its VWAP. INM might be putting in a reversal candle after it came close to $4. Nectar. This is still finding some support around 1725. Needs to get back above the 9 and 15 EMAs on its way to the VWAP, which I currently have at 1969. Looks like BBAI is still trying to push higher. Would like to see that 5 print and then have it cool off. Keep looking over, seeing what chat's saying, but I got that issue. How's AMD this morning? AMD is looking great.
Yeah, AMD is great. Remember, that's one of the stocks that Kathy rotated into after ringing the register on CRCL. That in Hood. In fact, AMD has just been straight up from the open here. Hood, very similar, although Hood looks like it got some resistance there at 80. Jay Rice, I bet, or I'm pretty sure that, didn't you mention earlier that Hood's next level here, 80? Could have sworn that was you. Maybe I'm misreading that. Anyway, both of these stocks look the same on the back of that news from Kathy.
Do me a favor for AMD. Look at the low for December 6th of 2024. It's much further to the left.
Yeah. So hard for me to just find a random date here. Here we go.
So the low that I've got is 137.40. Okay. Look at today's high. We gap filled. Okay. We filled that that gap between, from that low. We didn't get to the close.
There it is. Yeah.
But we could continue to push up and get to that close, which the close for that day was 138.59.
Okay. Jay says then 90. So you're just going every $10?
Looks like we're getting another pull in all those movers, except NA. NA is making its way back up, but a lot of these other ones are drifting lower. iBio, there it is. Could not get above that 65 EMA. The VWAP lost to 200. Now we're approaching the 85-cent low of the pre-market. This could also very easily go back down to 70 cents where we started from this.
This thing's junk.
Yeah.
This thing's junk.
Yep.
Don't be fooled.
Yep. BBAI is still holding above 480, although I'm getting a little concerned that if we can't get that 5 print, this thing is going to come back down to VWAP. And those oil exploration names are just super hammered. I think I saw that somebody posting about HUSA getting an offering.
Yeah. I think that was Izzy.
Good mention on that.
I guess we're not surprised given what we've seen over there.
Mm-hmm. All right, here's BBAI trying to get support from 480. Nothing looks like it's really appetizing at the moment.
Nope. I missed the Tesla trade that looked good to me earlier, and the rest of this, I don't think so.
Oh yeah, Tesla pulling beneath that trend line again. What's the market doing? We're still over 604. Looks like we did go down and test the 603.35 area. We came pretty close to that. 603.41 was the low.
Pony is popping here.
Is it bucking?
I guess you might be able to say that. You might be able to.
I guess they don't have Pony.
Any swings setting up, Ray? Yes, actually. I do think so. So first of all, oh no, we're doing this issue again. Well, it's got to be something with Restream, dude. This was fine during happy hour yesterday. It was absolutely fine during happy hour. Oh my God. Just give me a day where I'm not dealing with problems all day, please.
Days like that for me, I just tend to remain in bed.
I can't.
I know. I know, right? I know.
I'm frustrated. I'm sorry. I'm frustrated. I'm frustrated with this stuff not working.
And NA still trying to grind up to its VWAP. It now has tested, or it's moved over the 9 EMA, testing the 15 EMA. I don't want to give any false hope here. Just be careful with this one if you're deciding to trade it. It's, junky China name, even though they're raising millions of dollars for crypto. Pony ripping now. 1260 is I'm sorry, 1259 is where it went up to. There's a big old seller at 1260. Just took him out. Great mention on Pony AI. This thing has been the best looking stock so far this morning, I think. Okay. Looks like the SPY is drifting lower. I think we are going to lose 604 here. What's everybody else looking at here?
Oh man, I'm doing the best I can to not lose my mind right now. 13. Holy shoot.
SRFM back up to 230 again. Lots of sideways price action. Looks like BBAI recaptured 480. Needs more volume, so this can go higher. You can probably hear me say that a lot. Needs more volume, needs more volume. Pony AI doesn't have that problem. They've got the volume. New highs now. Pony AI continuing to go higher. To 1271. This thing is just ripping.
All right, I can't use my regular chart because I don't know, some stupid reason. Anyway, Ray, you were asking about potential swings here. We actually discussed a couple of these yesterday in happy hour, and we were able to tie in spots on the chart, support and resistance levels, and seasonality all into some of these. And we had really good seasonality and chart spots for both Home Depot and Lowe's. I had, there were moving averages here. I really don't want to re-add them and all of that. That's why I tried to go to the other chart. It's not cooperating with me. I'm sorry. 13, if you have it there on your end, great. If not, just take my word for it, I suppose. Home Depot and Lowe's both set up for upside swings right now based on the seasonality and the chart spot and formation. 13, you were just talking about Lululemon. Well, I don't have the seasonality stats handy for it. We actually look like we have a similar setup here, especially if we can recapture this trend line.
Yeah, I'm not sure about Lululemon. I still think that it could potentially go lower, but I need to see some things happen before I think that we're going to get back up to 300. Getting back over that trend line that you have there, that's going to be the first thing. So I need to see that. With regard to Home Depot, this came very, very close to that May 10th, 2021 level that I had pointed out when we were talking about this last week. Let's see, the low was what? 345.80. And that May 10th, 2021 low, or I think that was the high, was 345.69. So very, very close. Nice bounce off that. Now it's trying to recapture the 500-day SMA. Let me take a look at Rocket. I wanted to see how that's trading.
That swing is actually working.
We did hit 15, backed off of it, but we're in this consolidation area. That was a really nice move that we had yesterday. Back tested the trend line and the 200 EMA. I'm sorry, SMA.
We did back off a little bit today. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah. But I think about 475, some 470, 470. I'm sorry, 1470, 1475 looks to be the support area. We already hit 1470 earlier today. Let's see if it holds. Looks like all of these names starting to leak lower. Nectar might actually curl up though.
Still got to get through that 15 EMA.
Yeah. INM, that went down to 4. There it is. So got to reverse here or this thing's going lower. And it looks like there's a seller that's trying to walk this thing down to the 65 EMA. These names looking pretty weak. Still looking for Nectar to do that, recapture the 15 EMA that you just mentioned. Circle almost, well, that's about where it opened at now. Beneath 250. Pony 1277, 78. Still pushing higher. 1280 now at Pony. Looks like this thing could end up getting to 13 before it finds some real resistance.
1290 was the area that stopped it on Friday in the pre-market before we really kind of fell out of bed here. Now it seems to be returning right to that area. It's only 12 cents away.
Yeah, there's the price ladder is showing there's a large concentration of sellers at 13. So I think that if we do end up getting that price you just mentioned there and we pop over it, I think 13 is going to come down hard on the price. I'm not speaking about myself in the third person.
ONMD, penny stock going for $1. This looks to be the only thing that's really moving right now. Yeah, I'm gonna pass on this.
None of these movers looking that great.
None of them look great. I'm frustrated with my platform here. I really don't want to compound my problems. I'm probably just gonna pull it back a little bit.
LAES looks like it could go to 4. I don't know that if it's going to hold up there, but it looks like that's the next support area for LAES. It would be nice if it recaptured VWAP though and went higher. That'd be nice too. Let's double check on these space names. Starting to see some more turn red here. Looks like Rocket Lab and Satellogic both turning red here. Not too badly, but they were once green and they are not now. Just general positivity in the space names today. Intuitive Machines even is up over 3%. All right. Well, here we go with Pony AI. Still making some higher prints. Taking out some of these sellers. There's 1285, 15 cents away from 13. And looks like NA is doing NA things. Reversed. Couldn't get to VWAP. Underneath the 65 EMA again. Probably going to go lower. I'd say the next support probably be about 1940 to 1950. And even then, I don't want to touch it.
Yeah, I would stay away from that. GUR, this actually has done a pretty decent job of holding its VWAP so far.
All right, INM at the 65 EMA. It's just where this one has to reverse or it's thank you very much, good and goodbye. Nectar still showing signs of curling. VWAP is at 1952 and the price is at 1842. So this has a real potential of getting at least back up to the VWAP. Don't know if it's going to recapture it, but if it does, then I'd be looking at $22. BBAI trying to recapture 480. That was a crazy move in CDTX this morning. Or actually, that was after hours. Just a sudden run up to $70. That was crazy.
Was that on anything? That looks like that's just.
Let me see.
Yeah, I don't think so. That's just after hour shenanigans.
Yeah, and I mean, it's funny because yesterday they did an offering in the after hours. So they did the offering. It goes down to the 65 EMA on the 5-minute, and then it just gets bought back up, goes sideways, and then it rips into the end of the after hours session. I guess that the influenza drug that they're working on is really that great. All right, so INM hit that 65 EMA, trying to turn around. Same thing with Nano Labs, even though I don't want to touch it, just mentioning it. Nectar is getting back up to its VWAP, almost at it, which has got the value of 1949. That's going to be a resistance area. BBAI getting support from its VWAP, but it still would like 480. I don't know if it's going to get it. Circle going lower still. Pony AI, 1295 it hit before putting in what may be a reversal candle. We still have a minute left to see if that's the case, but I think I'd be thanking the market gods for giving me 1295 if this was just for a trade today.
Which ticker? Sorry.
Pony. We are getting a little bit of a reversal happening here after getting close to 13. I think this would be a good, profit taking area, but you guys trade how you're going to trade. Don't let me tell you what to do. INM trying to reverse. Still looking for that breakout for Nectar over the VWAP. Looks like that is certainly possible. What's going to happen here with LAES? Are we going to get another rejection at VWAP, or are we going to break through it this time? About 15 minutes ago, LAES lost the VWAP and has been trying to get back over it ever since. Looks like 410 has a little bit of a wall there, but it's only until 415 where the sellers really start to show up. So not sure there's a whole lot more left in LAES. There would have to be a large volume of buyers coming in to take out all those sellers there.
Izzy mentioning the Uber 100 calls. I'm seeing that there was like 3,200 bought here for Uber. 32 of those 100 calls. Those expire in July.
SRFM is recapturing 230, still low volume though. Nectar is really close to its VWAP. INM still trying to reverse. Nano Labs still hanging out at 65 EMA.
Yeah, Izzy, I don't see those. I don't have those as being aggressive, just kind of in size. Those were also bought as part of a spread. Those July 100s. Take care of yourself, C-Dub.
Take care, C-Dub.
Not the greatest day here today, no question.
No, it's been a very slow day. Hopefully, just our tone and demeanor has been kind of giving people pause, not jump into anything. Just don't want to get anybody trapped in anything. There have been some good trades, but they haven't been very numerous. Maybe there's something that'll set up later. Just don't force anything today. It's probably just not that kind of day.
Pony is ripping here.
See, there are some good ones like Pony. And then look, it went over 13. How about that? How about that? So it took out those sellers there, got some profit in at around around the highs near 13. Let's see what happens with Pony now. Wouldn't be surprising if this came in. Looks like LAES still trying to push back over VWAP. Hopefully we can get some kind of move like that we got with Pony. SRFM, that's still hanging out above 230 for the time being, but the volume is just awfully low. Basically, the ones that we covered this morning, NA, INM, and Nectar, they're just not doing a whole lot.
Nope. And this SRFM, which hasn't broke down, just has no strength and can't even really break out.
Yeah. Volume's just not happening with a lot of these today. It kind of makes me wonder, where are we at with volume-wise with the SPY? Is it still under 10?
SPY is just kind of holding sideways here. Tesla is really moving to the downside here.
Oh yeah. Okay. Oh, you know what? Actually, I think I want to take a look and see where this is at, because this is getting close to I think a support area that I mentioned. I think I may have said what, 340
For Tesla?
Yeah, I'm not sure if I did or not. Maybe it was a different one. But anyway, if we continue to go lower here, we do have that 20-day SMA at 330.42. That's like that's like $11 away though. We don't want that low, but don't be surprised if it gets down there. Meanwhile, Pony AI is still above 13. BBAI tried to get back over 480, got rejected. Yeah, it seems like Pony has been the only one that's done really well today. Looks like Nectar is finally going to make a move over its VWAP, though. That'd be great.
BBAI made a pretty good move.
You're right. BBI did too. And okay, it looks like we might get Nectar to go here. It's over its VWAP. Here we go. Perfect. Right into that consolidation just before the open. Good stuff.
$20 break here might send it on that.
I was just thinking that $20 is going to be the next spot to watch for. That might end up. You're right. I think that could end up taking this thing higher. Do see some resistance at 20. I don't think it's quite 21, but it's in the high 20 handle. Almost 21. Did Powell finish speaking? Or is he still doing that? Looks like we are still holding above that 604.32. Nectar got rejected at VWAP, pulled back underneath it. BBAI back over 480. And that's all that looks good at the moment. I might go get a bunch of errands done today with the way that this market's trading. Looks like Pony popped up to 1320. What are you going to do with your day with how slow this is?
I'm going to try and figure out what the hell is going on. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to try and actually fix some problems because I am absolutely tired of fighting this every single day. I'm also going to exercise because I am extremely frustrated right now. And this is the worst possible time to be making new trades, is when you are extremely frustrated. That is where I'm at.
That will compound frustration.
Yep. So I think I'm probably just going to hold off. I'm pretty much all trading.
Well, we can just say you had a flat day.
Yeah, I'm actually up with some of my swings. That's I guess the only positive here, but it's just, I don't want to be like this. I really don't want to be frustrated. And I am. It just sucks. Absolutely sucks.
We will have better days ahead.
Yeah, we will. That is for sure. And on the plus side, glass half full side that I like to talk about all the time, at least it's 8 degrees cooler here today than it was yesterday, because yesterday was absolutely insane. Lynn mentioning Micron, they've got earnings tomorrow after the close.
Looks like LAES is trying to get back over VWAP here. It's currently above it. Yeah, tomorrow after the close for Micron. Let me take a look at the chart, see how that looks. What a nice run this has been on. It looks like it's about to golden cross as well. I kind of feel like this thing is going to come back in with the run that it's been on, the RSI being extended. The earnings print could, if it doesn't impress, or if there's anything that's not favorable to investors, this thing is probably going to come back into its 20-day SMA. I think 111, 110 might be about the area.
I was just going to say, what do you think? 115, 111, 110, pretty much in the same area right there.
Yeah, and if you look at, the stock has had a hard time last year and going into this year getting over the 200 SMA, and that area that it's been having a hard time getting over is about that 110, 111 area. So that would be where I would anticipate support kicking in if we do get a pullback in Micron. But fantastic move. This thing pretty much almost 2x'd from the April 7th low.
Yeah.
Fantastic if you picked it up.
It's been beating its earnings recently. Pretty good.
What hasn't been pretty good is these names this morning. Well, it looks like INM is back over its VWAP, so that's encouraging. See if it can get to 22. It looks like 20s. I think I said that, or 20 or 21. There's some work it has to get through here, some levels before it gets to 22. But 22 is just the level that I had marked off when we were in the pre-market. Still think we could get there if we continue with this volume, though. Volume's been getting better. That's NKTR.
Wolf with the U. This is moving higher here today by almost about 10%. This is actually right back into a consolidation area.
Wolf with the U, huh? Let me take a look at this. And we are past that 1030 timestamp, so we are going to see volume dry up even more now, as if it hasn't already been doing that. 20-day SMA is at just penny under $4. I really like that $4 level. Wow, especially going backwards. All right, Wolf, got to get over that $4 mark today. That'd be great. That'd be great.
Wolf
nice,
with an O is spiking right now. Didn't this have a bankruptcy issue?
I don't recall. I'll look at that one in a second. Just want to also point out with Wolf with the U also had a nice reversal candle off the 550-day SMA yesterday. So this one looking pretty interesting here. Want to see a recapture of that 20-day SMA. Now Wolf with an O, you said?
Yeah, Wolf with an O. The company plans on filing for bankruptcy by July 1. They're trading up by about 16.6% right now.
Okay. So is that short interest real? It is real. Holy cow. 74% of the float shorted. This is squeezing like crazy. Crazy. All right.
I'm not part of my plan to trade bankrupt stocks, though, or stocks of companies that are going bankrupt.
Nope. You all have fun with that one. That's something I'm going to avoid. I know there's people out there that can trade that. Do your thing. Kill it.
Yeah.
I will just watch. All right. What else is looking good here? Well, Pony AI still grinding higher.
ASTS got our 50 prints.
Really? All right.
Yep. In the regular session, not even in the pre-market or after-hour session. Regular session, 50 prints happened on ASTS.
You got 52 in the regular session, didn't you?
Yeah.
Nice.
Actually stopped right at 52.
Well, I have no idea where this ends up going. I mean, I would have thought by now we would have pulled off of this. But,
I was going to say, at this point, we could probably use a pullback here.
I would think so. I would think, given that we're at 86 RSI, we've broken out from the trend line at the 40. Actually, this is more of like the $43 area. But you have the trend line on there for ASTS too, right? That started back
on the chart. That's busted.
Yeah. Oh, okay, yeah. This trend line back from February of 2021, going through the high of August last year. We just broke that last week. Broke it last week. Almost back tested it as support yesterday. Got it. Went higher, and we are continuing to grind. Actually, we got $50 yesterday. Got $50 yesterday. We're just getting icing. It's all icing here.
50.41, yep.
So if you held on to ASTS, I know I can't see chat right now, but if you did that, great job. You are absolutely killing it with that space stock. Pony AI now coming back down, looking for support at 13. Not me, the price. I don't support ponies. NKTR, nice move over its VWAP, getting back up to 22 almost. We are at, we printed a high in this candle of 21.49. Really great move here over VWAP, NKTR.
Y'all don't see that 18 plus on Pony May 30. Here's the candle, Sean. This was definitely 18 plus. This went 1980. I don't understand. Maybe there was a trend line here.
If you're saying it can go back up to 18, I don't doubt that whatsoever. To your point about the trend line, yeah, let's put one in.
I mean, maybe. I don't know. I'm gonna delete that. I'm gonna wait for. I'm not clear on what he's saying.
Well, if you're starting at the trend line from the 21st of February and drawing it through the high of
no, I was just drawing it through May, but this your trend line looks a lot better. 13.
I think that if we do end up recapturing the 65 EMA, looks like 14.15 or 14 even is the bigger level to get through. We get through that, I think we could end up seeing a visit to that trend line. Looks like there's also a bit of an area at 17 as well, maybe just underneath it. Lots of resistance to get through, but that trend line does look like it's certainly a possibility in the future.
Yeah. We'll see if it can hold this area here too, because this 1250 area, maybe that'll be some support here on this back test. Okay, good stuff there on Pony.
NA, good price action is not applicable for NA. This continues to go lower. Looking for the 65 EMA, the value of which I have at 16.95. iBio also looking pretty bad. Looks like that could break down at any moment. 85 cents is the support area. I think if we lose that, this is going directly to 70. Pony AI still hanging out up here. I thought we were going to get more of a pull. 13.24.
Coinbase next leg higher. What's Bitcoin doing? Okay, Bitcoin right here back at 106, about 105.5.
350 for Coinbase. That was the high from December of last year. So certainly thinking that we're going to hit 350 probably this week, if not today. I mean, I just can't deny. Excuse me. I just can't deny how crazy this move is, but at the same time, it seems like this trajectory is going to take it right up to 350, and then we can view that as resistance area. I just don't see anything pulling it back until we hit 350. SRFM still trying to deal with that 230 level. BBAI looking for 5. Coming up to the high of the session at 494. Lots of sellers between $4.95 and $5 that it has to get through. So there might be a big volume move coming in BBAI if there's any whales willing to take these sellers out.
It actually looks like this might break out right here.
Mm-hmm. Just need that big jump in volume to take out what looks like about 60,000 worth of shares, maybe actually more than that, 70 to 80,000 if I consider everything between 95 and 5.
Take care of yourself, Jane.
Take care, Jane. Thanks for trading with us.
EYEN continuing to move higher here.
Just looking to see what's setting up. Still thinking Pony might come back in here, but last time I did that, or put in a neutral candle, it retire. I'm just kind of waiting for things to happen at this point.
Yeah, I got nothing. I feel really terrible. I feel really, really terrible here. I got nothing for you guys. I don't see anything great other than that Home Depot swing.
We can look at other stocks that folks are asking about if until something actually happens. But for now, it seems like well, here's what I'm looking at. I got Pony that should be coming back in, but don't know if it will. I got BBAI that just put in another high. Looks like this is still trying to go for 5, but don't know if it will. You got SRFM, which is still dealing with 230. It's trading above it right now, but does it go higher? Don't know if it will. iBio, 85 cents. I already outlined this one. 85 cents is the support. We lose that, it's going to 70. NKTR, still looking for $22. As long as it holds view up, got about a little less than 2 minutes left in this candle. So we'll see what ends up happening there. INM trying to turn positive. Don't know if it will. NA going down to 65 EMA. Might reverse there. Don't know if it will. Kind of love saying that this morning. But that's kind of what I'm looking at.
NKTR, of all the ones that you just mentioned here, NKTR looks the best with the volume the way it is.
Mm-hmm.
Take care of yourself, Big Bear Hug. I'll be all right. Don't worry about me. I'm sorry for showing frustration. I'm normally pretty good at it, but have a good one.
Yep. Take care, Big Bear Hug. Give the market a Big Bear Hug for me if you could. I want to see this thing cool off some more.
I was going to say, I don't know, 13. 606.69 is your pre-market high there. We're currently at 605.20. It does look like this wants to push through that high.
Yeah.
How's the volume? How's the are we not even, let's see.
We've put in a high.
Okay, 17 mil.
Not seen since February. So we're getting back to February prices now. We're getting a pullback here off of NKTR. Looks like a lot of these names are just pulling. NA going lower.
Robinhood next leg higher through 80. Jay, that's on the way to your 90 spot.
Wow, look at this thing go. How far away are we from this moving average? So Hood already 11% away from the 20-day SMA. If it goes to 90, this thing is going to be a pretty good short.
Take care of yourself, Rooster. AMD, this actually made a nice pullback to the VWAP. It might retry that 138 spot.
I like that it got over 133 and the 500-day SMA in a single day here. Now, if we can continue to trade above that, I mean, this thing is, I don't want to say we're going to be facing 200 with AMD, but man, give enough time, I think it's certainly going to happen. Just give it enough time. All right, BBAI still hanging out above 490.
Oh, what happened here? OCUL, Ocular Therapeutics. This actually ramping here. Let me see if there was news for this. Monday. This would have been yesterday. No. I don't see any breaking fresh news or anything on this. This working on 13.5% here, though. Nice little formation here. OCUL.
I don't see any news.
Yeah, me either.
There may be news coming, maybe. Maybe. I don't know. Unless, hold on a second. I got to look at something. iPoint's also moving.
EYPT, right?
Mm-hmm. No news.
Well, yeah, I don't know. I was thinking maybe it's like a biotech theme or something like that.
Well, that's kind of what I was going at.
Yeah.
I was thinking, well, let's look at another name that's in a similar space, and iPoint is that. But man, when I look at iPoint's chart, this is an inverse head and shoulders that is resolving.
It sure is. We have it marked too.
Wow, we missed this one completely. We should have. I mean, because $8 was the spot recently. That was the entry spot.
Yeah, neckline here about 7.5.
Mm-hmm. Now, what we need to see happen next, if this is going to, continue to resolve, is we need to see this go to 10. But there's like a lot of concentration of sideways action at around 9. Let's see what happens at 9. If this can get through 9 and start making its way up, towards 970, 975, this is probably going to resolve higher. I would even go so far to say 1125 would be the level I'd be watching for, or wanting to take profit at on the resolution of this head and shoulders. I have 1125 marked off from previous years. interesting that those two are kind of moving, but don't.
It
see the
is
news.
actually, yeah. The more I think about it, the more interesting it gets too. I'd love to hit this again. I remember when we finished up with this the first time, we were like, there's going to be another move here for sure.
Yeah.
All right, we really quickly here, folks. We do have an all access coming up here in 2 minutes. Actually, less than that. Looking like, yeah, about a minute and a half here. We're going to be moving over to Dan. 13, we can wrap up here in a little bit. You don't need to start right yet.
Okay.
If there's anything else that you see out there.
Just cycling through all the names we were talking about this morning. NA is still heading lower. Looks like that's going to end up ending at 65 EMA pretty soon. INM trying to turn around. Nectar lost the VWAP. Bio is making its way towards 70 cents. SRFM still hanging out around that 230. Circle now towards the lows of the regular session. BDAI still hanging out above 480. Looking for 5. LAES mingling with its VWAP all morning. Redwire, we talked about that one. I have this one up. That one's trying to get back above its VWAP. And then Pony AI finally coming back down off of the 13 level. That is a big reversal candle there. This looks like at the very least it's coming back down to VWAP. Could potentially go lower. Okay.
Any closing words for the group?
Well, folks, sorry it wasn't a more exciting day. Tried to make the best of it as we could. Did get a couple of trades in there, but you know what? Let's just thank the market for what it gave us, and we'll come back tomorrow and see what it provides then, and we'll make some money off of that movement. So have a great rest of your day. I'll see you tomorrow. Take care, everybody. Enjoy the next show. Bye-bye.
All right. Sounds good. Thank you, 13. We will check in with you again tomorrow. Don't forget, we also have 4 more Fed speakers coming this afternoon, so things could change depending on what they say. All right. That is 13. We'll check back in with him. Now we're going to bring on Dan. Dan, what do you got here coming up for us on All Access, brother?
Well, first, I got a lot of love for you. And secondly, I've got Christopher Rosen, the chairman and CEO of Jupiter Neurosciences. Excited to talk to him today.
Okay, sweet. We're actually seeing a theme that, so I'm curious to hear what he says. Dan, take it away. Can't wait. All Access starts right now.
Hey, Zingers, and welcome to All Access. I do have a wonderful guest for you today. It is Christopher Rosen, the chairman and CEO of Jupiter Neurosciences. The NASDAQ ticker is JUNS. He is joining us for an exclusive talk today. All Access starts right now. And it is my true pleasure to welcome in the chairman and CEO of Jupiter Neurosciences, Christopher Rosen. It's fantastic to be with you today, Christopher.
Oh, thanks a lot, Dan, and to have me on here. And I'm actually calling in from our summer place in Sweden. We have a lot of things happening in Europe and the Middle East with our company and so on. So it's a good place to be in the summer. Otherwise, we're headquartered in Florida, and that's.
And my stepmom was just in Sweden on a British Isles cruise, so we got it all going
on
here.
Yeah. So it's very international, and that's we go and believe it. I think that with the announcement that we just did here with getting Annika Sorenstam being a ambassador for us on a worldwide basis, I think that the products, which is this is different than biotech. I mean, it's and I'm a business guy. And I've started 14 companies. Professors called me up and said, "Chris, can you find a way to get resveratrol highly bioavailable? Because the things that is in the market today doesn't really work in human. You don't get enough in your bloodstream." So we either were able to fix that scientifically, and with some, or we didn't have a company there. So, but we were able to crack the code. And then once we did a phase 1 trial and showed that we have 9 times higher bioavailability, which means that the amount that you get into your blood, it's 9 times higher than what you do with the regular resveratrol. And you need to eat about 2 to 3 grams a day to get any therapeutic effect. But if you eat more than 1.5 grams, you're going to have to more or less sit on the toilet. It causes diarrhea and side effects. So we have. And once we have the phase 1 done, and that was financed by National Institute on Aging for Alzheimer's. We got these super scientists that joined us and said, Chris, this is exactly what is needed for the product. In the RX side, which we're now doing a phase 2 for Parkinson's disease, and we expect readouts third to fourth quarter next year. Of course, that's the holy grail. But I like cash flow, and biotech is not cash flow. I mean, it's like you hope to good results, and then you raise some more money, and then you do another trial, hope for good results. But since resveratrol is a natural compound, although we have the new patent and formulation around it, and then I've been very interested in them. I'm up there in age. I want to live healthy longer, be able to hit the golf ball 300 yards straight instead of like 200 yards and crooked. Then I said, let's develop something around this, because the whole longevity and aging and health span market is exploding around the world. So we decided about 6 months ago to put together formulations for, and initially it will be for skin health. That includes then for UV protection, and also everyone is interested to look good and so on. So like, and then it's for obviously, which is the key area that we're involved with, is CNS, and right. So it's for cognitive area, stay sharp, mentally healthy, and then the third one is then that boost your mitochondria, which then increases your strength. So the message is more or less you can be stronger in the second part of your life, So it's very exciting. Response was phenomenal, and now when Annika Sorenstam, who is the GOAT in female golf, no one has ever won as much as she has, and she's very health conscious, also scientifically conscious. So her first question was, what's the science behind this? Right. And is there any? And so we have to send all the different papers, the scientific studies and so on. And so we announced that yesterday, that she's joining us an ambassador, and we're going to be out there to conquer the world with this.
I love it. And I'm a sports broadcaster as well. So, I mean, Annika Sorenstam, as you mentioned, is the GOAT. I've gotten to cover her before. So that's great news. And Christopher, I wanted to talk to you about this. I know that Jupiter Neurosciences, as you kind of alluded to, is focusing on developing drugs to treat neuroinflammation with that current focus on the central nervous system, or CNS disorders such as obviously Alzheimer's and Parkinson's, as well as rare diseases. Why did the company choose that area to focus on?
Because when we talked to, after the phase 1, we talked with, we have, if you look at our scientific advisory boards, Dr. Rudolf Tansey from Harvard, and Liwei Tsai from MIT, and Scott Turner and Charbel Moussa at Georgetown. They said, Chris, resveratrol is multifunctional, not necessarily what pharmaceutical industry want. They like it to be very specific what to do. But resveratrol does a lot of things, including that is anti-inflammatory. And a lot of Alzheimer's and so on, they said it's very clear, and Parkinson's, it's a lot of it triggers it inflammation in your brain. So if you can have a product that reduces the inflammation or even eliminate it, and resveratrol passes the blood-brain barrier. So it's a matter of getting enough in the brain to do it. And you cannot do that with the regular supplements that is on the market. So that was key number 1. And what the inflammation does, it also kills cells. Wherever it is. I mean, you can have inflammation in your arm or body and your muscles and so on, and it kills the cells. If you can increase mitochondria, which is a second mechanism that resveratrol has. The mitochondria is the fuel for your cells, so you can regenerate the life of the cells, and then so it's the dual effect is more or less perfect for your whole body. And so reduce the inflammation and remove it, and then you follow that with seeing that you increase the mitochondria and your muscles get healthy. Even the president of United Mitochondria Disease Foundation, he said, Chris, this can be so good, so it might even be banned for the Olympics, because you can run faster. So it's kind of
hey, let's do that.
Yeah, so I saw that as a real compliment, that it's like, oh yeah, because that's for us, more in regular life, if we can get an extra spring in our step, and then and be active, through our life, that's really what we want. So that's really the message that we have now. And of course, my mother passed away in Alzheimer's and so on. So whatever, so we're continuing that side as well. We got a little criticism from some analysts that says, well, Chris, well, then you might not get as high price for your prescription drug because, they can take the product here on the nutritional side. I said, if I can get 2 million people that gets, 5 years before we can get an approval of Alzheimer's, so start to take our product and reduces their risk and slows down their Alzheimer's, I'm going to make enough money anyway then. Yes, I will not make, we're not going to be worth, 15 billion, but we might be worth 2. And that's, I can live with that. I said, so it's, I think sometimes, honestly, in the pharma industry and biotech, they think it's too greedy. And I think that, and of course, I'm European originally, and so the drug prices are not as high in Europe and so on. So, but it's and I see it more. So even the analyst says, "Well, you're right." He said, if we can get, and by the way, this analyst specifically said, "When can I buy the product from you?" So now,
they want to.
So it's.
I want to talk to you too about, I know Jotrol, your flagship, product platform, and enhanced orally administered Vivitrol, which you talked about as well. Tell us how that works, and also the potential benefits for people with CNS disorders, because that's a huge thing.
But it is, exactly what I said. First of all, it's a capsule, so it's not anything else. And resveratrol as a molecule is so hard, you can dissolve it in water and so on, so you cannot do an injectable or anything like that. So so we found this little company in Germany. It has this very specific micellar preparation. So now you take the capsules that we have, and you like a regular whatever vitamin or whatever you take. So it's not cumbersome, and there's really no side effects on resveratrol except the GI side effects at high dose. So what happens here is that since it goes down into this micellar preparation, the particles ends up being so small, so you get absorbed through your intestines, so it doesn't reach the liver. Because the regular resveratrol that you take, the liver cleans out 99.5%. So there's hardly anything that gets into the bloodstream. So that is the problem that we were able to then solve. And once you get enough in the bloodstream, you need to have about 300 nanograms per milliliter. So it's like still quite small, but then it goes through your bloodstream into your brain and starts with reducing the inflammation. And they are all kinds of biomarkers that already exists out there. So there's a lot of it. Of the studies that we're doing is based on studies that is done with resveratrol that shows that it really works, but the problem was to get enough in the bloodstream, and that is really what we have resolved. And when you look at all the prediction, of course, it's not proven until it's tested in, but predictions are that by reducing the inflammation and increase the mitochondria, with these dual effects, creates more effects that is positive. So and if you're really scientist, the A-beta 40-42 relationship and the tau and so on is going to be improved. So it's very exciting. I mean, it's I've done everything from started a disco when I was 17. I invented the overhead speaker system for Jeep Wranglers called the sound bars and so on. And I invented an osteoporosis drug. This is by far the most exciting thing, that I've ever done. And I have a small, great team, and interest is all over the world. It's just that we were hit by short sellers when we went public and so on. And then, but it's up to us to perform, and we will perform. So it's.
I think you're our first disco guy ever. So like, I'm super excited because I'm like perpetually in the 70s. So I love it, Krister.
Yeah.
Before I let you go, I know obviously the developing drugs as you well know, and bringing them to market can take years. But I know in the meantime that you and Jupiter Neurosciences have come up with a novel way to drum up revenue with your launch of Nugevia. What is Nugevia and how does it leverage Jotron to generate revenue now?
Yeah. So Nugevia is that brand for that we came up to, with, and it's going to be sold direct to consumer over e-commerce. We just got the cruise ship line that wants it on their spa. We got and we actually called from some Middle East Saudi group that wanted, and so it's spread really quickly. And of course, Annika announcement helped with that. But so we have the Jotrol for resveratrol formulation, plus in the beauty from within, we have it combined with something called astaxanthin, which is another natural compound, and so that's then for keeping your skin healthy and so on. And Annika is if you think about it, she's been playing golf outdoor for close to 50 years and her skin is still like a teenager's and so on. And so it's a big thing, to really see that you stay healthy and avoid myeloma, because that's and astaxanthin assists with protection against UV and so on. And it's a big thing today also from like L'Oreal has now a big program where they talk about beauty from within. So you actually, instead of having that you take skin care products on your face, you actually have some product that works from the inside. And then when it comes to the mind product, which is then more that I want to take it to myself immediately to stay sharper, be focused, and also avoid the Parkinson's and Alzheimer's. So it can see it as a preventive product there. And that's actually a combination between Jotrol and curcumin, so there's all scientific data on the combination as well. And then with the for power for your mitochondria increases, then CoQ10 combined with Jotrol. So Jotrol goes in to all of them. So it's and we created it as a wholly owned subsidiary to Jupiter Neurosciences. So the shareholders, instead of I was told, well, do a spin-off, and then you can keep that yourself, but that's not who I am. I mean, the science have come for years. We're developing Jupiter Neurosciences, and so all the shareholders going to be benefit from a product line that,
right.
I mean, I think it can be. I think we can conquer the world, as I said, on in longevity and aging. Of course, there's many other companies. I'm not saying that we are the one who can do it all, but there's combinations out there that are going to make it very possible for you to have a very healthy lifestyle into your last day, of your life. So
I love it. You're going to conquer that world. Listen, I wish we had more time. We're going to have to do it again, but it was an absolute pleasure talking to you today, Krister. I can't thank you enough for your time, and congrats on Annika Sorenstam. She's a legend, and it just looks like there's some beautiful things going on with you and your great team at Jupiter Neurosciences.
Okay, thank you. Thanks a lot. Yeah.
Hey, the pleasure.
See you, and we're going to have a launch party in New York, September 24th. So it's
sign me up.
Yeah. All right. Super.
Thank you so much, Krister. That was the chairman and CEO of Jupiter Neurosciences, Krister Rosen. Great to talk with him. Their NASDAQ ticker is JUNS. Now, let's send it back to former, speaking of Sweden, ABBA tour manager, the great Ryan Faluna.
Yeah, I mean, what can I say? ABBA's great. Gimme, gimme, gimme. One of the best songs ever. Also great on the golf course. Okay, Dan, really good stuff there. Have a good one. We'll check in with you next time.
You as well.
That is Dan Leach. I know we're pressed for time here, so let's go ahead and check in with Miss Anne-Marie. Anne-Marie, how you doing today? You're muted.
And here we go.
Here we go. All right. I know we're a little bit truncated here on time because that interview ran over. But yeah, if you go ahead and share your charts, we can go ahead and roll through it.
All right. Hey, listen, only up from now.
I sure hope so. I sure hope we've bottomed because it has not been a good morning. So we'll see.
All right. Let's move the charts up. You're normally such a cool cat all the
I know.
time.
I'm sorry. I feel terrible. I feel terrible because I'm
Don't
trying. Everything is
don't
going
fret.
wrong on my end. Every single thing is going wrong here today, and it's just like I cannot wait until it's over. All right, what do we got here, Anne-Marie?
We're going to start with Palo Alto. We're going to have a rapid fire because, well, I did not want to do that. I just want to do this. And I don't, where are the big buttons? I don't want to see any of what is happening here. All right, sorry. Chart time and sales. So it must be this. All right. Okay. So very interestingly, we are coming to the end of the month. Market is shaking off all the woes at this juncture. We could have ourselves just a little bit of a wiggle towards the end of the week, but as July begins, July seasonally, from a seasonality perspective, is one of the strongest months that we can look at. And so I'm just looking at a lot of longs, or the ones that are a little bit weaker. You'll be able to see some range-based formations. So let's first look at Palo Alto. We know it's a beast. We know it's doing very well. It's very close to its all-time highs, doing superbly. Trend up, momentum up. It is drifting down with average true range. So price action is compressing a little bit, but that's not so bad. It could mean that just the dips are going to give us buy zones. The largest high volume candlestick is all the way down at 184. We filled the gap. We came back to retest the breakout area. This chart looks very positive. Even if it dips, it should bounce. So let's take a look at a couple of ways that we can trade this into the end of July. Now, it's got some run all the way into August, but the price expansions might make it a little bit more difficult to trade. So we can do all of them at a glance. We can do, they're looking for round at about $20. So that's 220. So we'll go 215, 225, 235. And that one is $1 if you're looking for it. And we've got the one for the 18th that's a little bit more, but it's also got oh, sorry. That should be 217.50. It's a little bit more, but it's also got, about, what is that, $12.50 of upside on the horizon. So we can do the long butterfly. I know you might be going, wow, that's a little expensive, but here's the thing. We've got probability really anchored on our side. And if you're thinking, hey, what if it does dip a little bit? You can look to get it for cheaper, maybe at the $2 mark. If you want to just go to August and give it a run there, it's got some good legs also. 215, 225, 235, $1.16, $1,000 to the upside. $117 of that's going to be taken out. And if you go, well, I don't want to do that, you can do both and say, listen, I'm going to do the 200, 195 puts, and you can use them. You can go into August and sell those as well. You get $1.70, which, really helps pay for either of these in their entirety. So that's the first one. I'm going to take a snapshot of that for us so that we can keep a handle on all of these here. And
Awesome.
then we will jump to the next one. All right. So the next one I have is Fortinet. FTNT. Oh, heavens.
So Anne-Marie, just I can't help but notice your first two stocks here are in the cybersecurity realm. Is that just coincidence, or is there a method to this?
I believe it's one of the places that we need to invest in.
Me
And
too.
so I have a focal point there, but before that, it's got to be trending in that general environment. So
Okay.
the next one we're looking at is Fortinet. Let's take a look at that chart. It's got a base. I mean, what a nice base it's forming right here. Since May, it's been holding very nicely, coming to the top of the range. Momentum is moving up. Average true range is starting to widen a little bit, so we've got a little volatility expansion. And so let's go to the chart. Also, seasonality. This one's got some good upside. Two ways to trade it. One, you could do, if you think it's going to be a really big move, you can do the 110, 115 call spread. It's 69 cents. If you looked at it also and did the August 110, 115, 110, 115, it's a little bit more expensive, but that July one, where it's just the vertical, it's if you're thinking, listen, this is really going to break out.
Mhm.
If you're a little bit more like me, that says, well, let's see, the chains say that it could go as much as $13. That puts it up, at one, sorry, that's August. Let's not get brain dead, Sally. $6, right? Which puts it at 110, right in the middle of the strike. That's my thought about what's going on here. But either of them, any of these look really, really good in terms of probabilistic motion with low exposure and, very likely 75 to 100% return minimum is what I am thinking. It could be much more, could be less, markets do what markets do, but these look really good. And I like the fact that this chart has been doing nothing but basing. Even as momentum drifted lower, it held the floor. And so to me, this looks like a breakout, potentially into the 115 area, but I suspect it stops right around 110 by the time we look at the chart the next time.
Okay.
All right.
I really like that one, by the way. I really like that chart and everything. Chart, sector, the whole 9 yards. That totally fits. So awesome stuff there. Okay, so that was Fortinet and PanW. Where are you going next?
I am going next to Blackstone.
Okay.
Oh, you're like Blackstone. Okay.
I can't
So
help it. Whenever I hear Blackstone, I think of my griddle. So I know that's not what this is, but that's how it goes, it seems.
So here's what this chart's been doing. For a long time, it has really been struggling, right? It's just had a massive fade, and we started seeing buyers at the base at around 115. And now the price action has lifted. It double bottomed, made a higher low, tested resistance again, made a higher low, broke through resistance, and since then it's become support, basing. Even as momentum drifted lower, it's held the floor of support. Now it's holding above its weekly. It's bouncing very nicely. This easily could be a break into the 150 level. It's also got excellent seasonality. You might go, yeah, Anne-Marie, but look at that on declining volume.
Yep.
Yes, it is definitely something to think about. You want to put an alert here at 134. If it gets to 134, this thing is done. However, very nice seasonal formation. And here we have July for the 145, 150, 155. It's got a lot of premium sitting in here. So you could easily go to that 134. Whoa. Okay, let's see if the spread helps us. No, not even. We could go, I don't think that it's going to lose 140, but I don't want to do that very well. We could do something in order to make this a little bit cheaper. We could sell the spread. Oh, the spinning wheel of death remains. But this one, you know, it's maybe got 250% return max. So it's not a super big juice, but the chart is calling for volatility that says, hey, listen, there's potentially 10 points that have been sold into this. And so my thought is we sell those 150s and they help us out perfectly in the space. If you're interested in looking at something a little bit more outsized or a little bit cheaper, maybe take a look at this on Wednesday or Thursday to see
Okay.
what happens. Let me take a snapshot of that one.
Okay,
All right.
perfect.
The next one I want to look at is Lulu.
That is actually looking pretty good too. We took a look at the Lulu chart earlier. It does look like there's a lot of signs pointing in the right direction for a potential long there. So I'm curious to see what you have to say about it here.
Yeah, so I think it's still trying to base.
Yeah.
It looks pretty good. And so here's what we have. Very oversold, but look at how long it stayed oversold. It stayed oversold almost 2 weeks, and now it's finally starting to bounce. So for me, I think the floor is in. I do. I think the floor is in. However, I think this is potentially the kind of noise we see over the coming days because there are a lot of shorts here. If they turn around, they could really punch it higher. But my thought for this one is an iron condor, right? 250 is the top edge I would sell, 260 to buy. It gives us almost half of the spread, and it's got less than 1% that it's going to expire in the money. So statistically, it looks absolutely grand. It looks grand, absolutely grand. If you're saying to yourself, yeah, you know, I just feel like this is a bullish run. It could really start running for the next few days. Look, there are 1,500 options at 240 and 900 at 250. Not very many at 245, but the round number is in there. If you did that, you could do a vertical and put yourself in the mix. You could even do a butterfly there and make it way cheaper, right? So all the choices there. My thought is it's going to take some time to resolve there, though the floor is in. I just think it's going to be a lot of sideways action in that particular landscape. All right,
Okay.
zooming along.
Yeah, I
All
like
right.
that Lulu trade. I definitely want some Lulu upside exposure here. I may follow into that one.
Yeah. So the next one is an unusual one for me. I don't normally cover Moody's, but the chart, again, rough downside pattern, really took a long time to grind its way up, started getting traction maybe around the 1st of May, moved to a higher high relative to this one, and now holding a floor in a box, right? Negative momentum that started to lift. So 467, that's going to be the area where you look at the chart and you go, if it loses that zone, I don't know about this being a long. Statistically speaking, it's got a lot of upshot through the month of July. So let's take a look at it. Two ways to do this. If you don't mind exposing yourself to the risk and you like having, well, that's interesting. That was credit before I started, and now it's a debit. All right, so let's move to August. And if we do the August back ratio, here's what it's telling us. Now, some of us don't like to use back ratios because it just makes them nervous. They're pricing $34 into this move. So the movement is into 514. I don't think that that's what the measured move is saying. And the vol is really fairly good. Now, here's the trade. If you're aggressive and you go, I'm going to do the 490 to 500, if they move up over 500, going to be something I want to watch. The break-even price here is 502, just about. So if you said, let's go out just a little bit more and do the 500, 510, it gives you a little bit more room. But I like the back ratio. I am taking back ratio, full disclosure. So I can get a credit if it does nothing. I make, if it moves from here to 510, I've got $3,000 to the upside, plus the credit I make. And then after that, it starts slipping away. If you want to do the call spread, that's sitting right at 480 to 490. July is showing $21. So right at 500 is what it's saying, but the options are really expensive here. And so I think they fall inside of the range. This butterfly actually gives us a credit. So even if this flies all the way through to 580, we bought it for literal credit.
Yeah.
And so there's no way to lose. Now, if the market maker decides he's not going to let you have that trade, then there it is. But that is, it's been a while since I bought a butterfly at a credit. And again, it's because the options are significantly mispriced. If we go to July,
That's amazing, actually.
Yeah, they're mispriced for sure. If we go down a little bit and we go, all right, well, let's move inside of the range. Let's say it goes 500 to 510 to 520, it's still a credit, right? And so my thought is, yes, they're mispriced. Lucky me. I'm just going to try and get them filled and see what happens here. So that's the one for Moody's.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was going to say MCO. I did not expect that one here today, but
I know.
perfect. I love new tickers. I love when we look at new things. That's where it's at.
Absolutely. Charter.
CHTR?
CHTR. Yeah. All right. So let's take a look at this chart. This chart is got a trend line break, even though I, really stink at drawing those things. Two things. It's got positive technical divergence, right? Lower low in price, higher low in momentum. It is got an upward sloping 63. It's breaking out into near-term resistance, and statistically speaking, it's got general upshot. into this time of year. So my thought is that this is actually a bull flag. Let me show it to you. I think it's a bull flag, and it's a bull
Okay.
flag break. And so let's see what the chains have priced into the space. So the chains are saying $24, right? So that's a pretty gigantic move in my mind. I'm gonna think that it's half that. So I've got the 400 right at the money right now to 410 to 420. Now, why am I going inside of that? Well, one, I've got my declining volume. Two, I would not be surprised to see a shallow pullback and then a move out into the 410 number. It seems like 410 to 407 is reasonable. So let's look at the other side of that. If I said, hey, I'm not going to do that one, I'm going to go to August, and I'm going to use, wow, they're looking for $50 there. That's too wide, and there's no volume. So my thought is that we stick in July for now. And if you're saying to yourself, hey, I actually think it's going to go bigger, there's a lot of people at 410. You could go 410 to 420 to 430. It's a little bit cheaper. It gives you a little bit more range, and potential upside definitely sitting there. And it's cheap, right? They're $1 for $1,000 upside. Those are nice. Those are nice looking options that have legs based on price action, based on seasonality, all kinds of things making them look pretty good.
Okay. And I love it when you're able to add multiple things together to paint a picture there. That's
Yes.
absolutely perfect. Okay. Did you have anything you wanted? We're out of time here.
Yeah.
You're good. Okay.
Perfect.
Anne-Marie, oh my God, dude, Anne-Marie, I can't get anything right here today. I'm sorry. I was trying to turn the screen off there and I closed you off instead. Thank you again. Awesome job moving through those really, really quickly. We're going to see you again on this Friday, right?
Yes. Yes, sir.
Okay. Fantastic. Have a good rest of your Tuesday. We'll catch up with you next time. All right, Anne-Marie?
Thank you, sir.
You're welcome. Take
Bye,
care.
everybody.
All right. Next, we've got Paul Meeks coming up here. Tech Tune Up with Paul Meeks. I'm going to go ahead and send you over there. Thanks, everybody, for your support and patience here today. We'll be back at this again tomorrow. Stay green, stay safe, stay focused. Enjoy Paul Meeks. We'll see you.